Guys? Crypto Mike here. Woo, yeah. You ready? Woo. Can you feel it? It's coming. Here it comes, baby. Hope your bags are packed. Hope you got your ticket. First stop, the moon. And that's only the first stop. Hope you guys are doing well today. It is a beautiful day. Whew, it's a beautiful day. What a day to be alive. What a time to be alive. So we going to the moon. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on right now. What's going on right now? Well, I'll tell you what, the Ethereum chart looks amazing right now. It looks like it's about to take off. Like, I mean, it's going to go to 600, I think. And what follows Ethereum, and right now, DeFi coins are starting to pump. And that indicates to me that, DeFi 2.0 is here. The DeFi run 2.0. And, that gets me excited. We've had plenty of time to pack our bags, whatever income level you're at, whatever kind of, doesn't matter. Crypto's going to multiply. That's how it goes. We've experienced it time and time again. We've seen the charts. We've got a great, awesome community. And we know what's coming. We've been telling people left and right. And we've done our due diligence. We've done our own research. A lot of people have just kind of, been following the people who are telling them. So hopefully the people that they're following are correct. I'd say I would probably say that I've fine-tuned my portfolio decently. Like, it's been pretty good lately. I've been liking what I'm seeing up there in the top 10. Kind of just shifting it here and there. So I'm pretty excited, you guys. Let me see. Let's go look at the little show you which coins I'm really excited about for the next month or so, next few months. And I'm not saying that other alts won't explode, but the DeFi alts, they look really, really intense. They look like they're gonna get intense. And I want to show you a little video of a very highly underrated channel. So I think Algorand's gonna do well. This is a great, token, a great coin, great blockchain, because we had the USDC announcement, and then I think up to the end of the year it's gonna do well. So we're gonna see probably some kind of regulatory clarity pretty soon. I hope. I mean, I've been hearing it was in 2020, so we still have about month and a half left of that before that expires, that prediction. So we got Cosmos, that's the plumbing, that's the 0x too, the plumbing of all the blockchains. Those are gonna probably do well. I think those are both highly underrated, and then I'll show you one person who thinks the same, and he actually he explains it a little bit from Token Metrics. And I'm starting to really like that YouTube channel. I've been kind of watching it the last month or two, and they do videos every day. But some channels, I'll tell you, like my channel, I'm not trying to brag at all, but some channels, you see the thumbnail and you think, oh, that's what they're talking about. No, and then they drop all this other information, and they're very highly underrated, you know, very highly underrated. But most people don't really go. It's not like a huge, you know, click. You know, people don't click on it because they see the thumbnail. Oh, he's just talking about that one coin. No, but they drop all this other information, and you have no idea. That's what I do. I drop little tidbits of information here and there, all over the place. People tell me, Mike, you should be getting paid for that. I'm like, yeah, it probably should be. All that information I'm putting out there, it's valuable. So, anyways, so then we got Omise Go. You know, I've been a big bull on this the last, you know, 4 or 5 months, ever since I've seen what it was doing during the DeFi run in the middle of summer. Let's take, I mean, look at this thing pumps. When it pumps, it pumps. I've been saying that over and over. Same as REN, REN, same thing. People still don't, they don't even seem interested, but that's fine. You know, that's fine. That whenever your token like pumps hard, look at that. Just today, it's up 15%. But look what happens. This thing goes. Look how high it flew within a few days. Look at that. I mean, this is like XRP style, you know? It just goes. Why? Well, it's going to be used, you know, for scaling, Ethereum scaling. Look how high it jumped in like a week. It went from $1.71 to $6.40. No one talks about it. People are they're so sleepy. And then let's see, what else we got here? What else we got? REN. I want to show you REN too. This one is a great day trading coin during the DeFi run, when it runs up and then it comes down and then it runs up like 20% in a day. I mean, this thing has a chart very similar to Chainlink. So take a look at that chart. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I just want to make sure everything's good. Let me check the chat out real quick just to make sure no one's like, Mike, we can't even hear you. That happens sometimes. And I'm like, oh, I'm talking for like 30 minutes and no one can even hear me. Yeah, oh, Digibyte. Yeah, Digibyte's been low, so I think, you know, that's deceiving, and people, they think something's going down and they're like, oh, screw that, fuck that shit. Man, that's a trash coin, you know? Yeah, Av. Yeah, what's up, Carlos? Hey, Guac Girl. So, yeah, I mean, these, you know, I'm telling you, the DeFi coins, Synthetics, Av, Comp, Uniswap, Uni, is finally going up. And, you know, I was tweeting about it. I think I might have mentioned it on YouTube when it was $2, like a month ago or 3 weeks ago. It's like, this is a good time to get in. So, let's take a look at Uni. Look at this one. And I'll show you a video, and I'll show you why this channel is very highly underrated. Not mine, but, well, mine is too, but this channel, Token Metrics. This channel right here. Great videos. And the guys, you know, I got to find out his name. I think it's Bill, or what's his name? I don't know. But anyways, we'll find out. I think it's the creator of Token Metrics. It's Ian Bellina, of course. I think he funded Token Metrics. He created it, but then there's also the guy who runs it, I believe, or does the AI tech aspect of it. And I'm going to show you this video. This video is so... It's going to blow your mind, what he says. I love what he says, because I'm all about... He talks about the Fed. And I'm all about the Fed and what they're going to do. Because when it comes right down to it, it's, you know, everything depends on what decisions they make with the monetary system, because they control the world reserve currency at the time, for the time being. All right. So I'll show this to you in a minute. This is gonna be just a random kind of chill live stream. I didn't have any particular things to go over, but I do want to, you know, share my excitement for this bull run. I've been waiting. Been waiting. Got to get that money. You know, got to get that money. Been paying rent with my crypto that's been going down the last few months. Let's go up now. Let's go up. It started. I had a good day the other day though. Bought $350 worth of Civic right when I heard the Coinbase announcement that they were going to be listed on Coinbase. Oh, you know what? I have a ton of stuff to show you. You're going to love this. Hey, Stephen Lawless. How you? I haven't seen you for a while. I have a ton of stuff to show you guys. Eventually I'm probably gonna have a report or something, put my findings in a report, and I'm gonna have to charge if this bull run doesn't get me to where I need to be, I can't be selling my crypto before the bull market's over to pay for rent. I gotta get some kind of paid report, or because YouTube just ain't doing it. YouTube is not doing it for me. So let's see. Oops. I want to show you Civic. Right when they announced that they were going to be on Coinbase, Coinbase announced that they were going to list Civic, Mana, which is Decentraland, which I'm bullish on too, and then also District 0x. That's the funny thing. You got to go with your gut instincts, and I tell myself this because my gut instinct was to say, what's 0x? And should I be interested in it? That was about a year ago when I was looking through the Coinbase coins, Coinbase Pro. I saw District 0x. I'd never heard of it before, but it's on Coinbase Pro, so well, it must be special. And guess what it did? Well, it did. It went up 700% in 1 week after they announced their Coinbase listing. So I bought Civic, which actually went up 400%, and that was good enough for me. I bought it. I sold at the very top. I know it was amazing. I'm very good. I'll tell you what. I'm very good at finding the top because I'm very good at feeling sentiment, feeling energy. I'm a feeler. I'm a healer. So energy is just building up, and then it builds up more, and I'm like, oh no, it's not gonna last for the short term at least. I sold right at the very tip top. I'm so proud of myself. I put $350 in, and then 4 days later I sold, and it was around 1150. So it was, I calculated it was a 259% gain that I made in 4 days. I'm telling you guys, that's going to be 2021 for us, 2021 is going to be full of those kind of gains, guys. All right, I'm telling you. 2021, here we come. All right, so let me show you Civic and why I think there's another one that will pull something similar to Civic. And all it's waiting for is a Coinbase listing announcement. So yes, it's still up. In the last week, 320%. That's why it's dipping so hard. People are selling off. I was like one of the first ones. I sold at 16 cents. 16 cents. Yeah, that was awesome. I was like, okay, I'm out. This is going way too high for it not to dip hard. And that's what it did. And so, I'm not that great at other little things sometimes, but I'll tell you what, I'm very good at finding the tops. I was good at, when in September of 2018, when XRP, they did its big pump to like 80 cents. I sold right up the top, right up at the top there. Like when it started pumping that day, this only lasted like 3 hours, guys. But that morning when it started pumping, I sold all my other alts. There was only like 3 or 4 because back then I was just a beginner, I had only been in the market for like six months. But I sold my Ethereum, I sold my Litecoin, I sold it all into XRP because I felt it coming, and it boom, and it started going up and up, and I made like a 2.5, 3x that morning, and then I sold right at the top because I knew it was coming down. I was like, oh, it's coming down already. I thought it was gonna pump. You know, we had heard that it was going to go nuts, so I thought it was going to like, you know, $3 or all-time high. It only lasted till about 80 cents, you know, but what you got to do is when you feel all that, currency is energy, you know, currency, crypto energy, you know, cryptocurrency. It flows, you know, it goes back and forth. It's energy. That's what the universe is made of. So you got to feel the emotion of the energy in the coin, in the pump. You got to be able to feel that. You got to access your feeling side. Some people can't. And you know, you got to work on that for the bull market. And so you got to be able to catch that sentiment. And I use a lot of different sources too. Twitter, you know, just all sorts of people's voices, what they're saying. I use the fundamentals. I look at the chart. I look at the volume on Binance. It's usually Binance, you guys. It's just like building up, and then it goes even higher. That's when you sell. When people say, "Oh, take profit," but then it goes even higher, you gotta sell. Because like my friend was telling me to take profit. He's like, "Is it time to take profit?" I'm like, "Nah, I didn't buy enough to sell it right away. I bought it actually till the end of next bull market, but when something pumps that hard within a few days, it's gonna come back down pretty hard because people have the same idea as me. They're gonna sell off, and some people are more busy. You know, they go to work, they have kids. You know, they can't really look at the charts all the time. They can't focus on this all the time. You know, so then they're the ones who are selling down here, waiting for that next rise. Now, it almost looks like CBC wants to go up again, but there's another one called Loom that is on Coinbase Pro. It's been on Coinbase Pro for about 2 years, and yet it's not on Coinbase yet. There's only 2 on Coinbase Pro that aren't on Coinbase. And honestly, it feels like basically almost everything on Coinbase Pro is on Coinbase. So what does that tell you? The process of elimination brings it down to those 2, and all the other ones have been listed already. So what's next? Probably those 2. As far as I know, Coinbase Pro hasn't unlisted anything. I don't know. I might be wrong on that, but tells me that maybe Loom will be listed, and it's up in the like top 200, but the market cap isn't too high. Oh, it's over 200. I'm telling you, this one might be, and it was pumping hard the other day too. It was pumping hard, but look at this. It's on Coinbase Pro. Okay. Look, it's so low, but it was pumping like the other day. It was 75% up. So are people anticipating a Coinbase listing? Look at the volume. I don't think this thing's done pumping. Let's take a look. I can actually go on TradingView because it's been around for quite a while. Loom. My stomach's making noises. Loom Bitcoin. We're gonna go to Loom. Yeah, I think Loom Bitcoin would be the one to use. Yeah. I think it's gonna probably come down to like 2 cents and 70, something like that. So yeah, this one's actually creating a downward channel too, so that's a good sign. It's consolidating into a downward channel. And look, oh yeah, okay. That tells me something, you guys. So if it's really butting up against the top of a resistance, like it just doesn't want to go down, the more it hits the top of the resistance, you see that the buying pressure is high, and the buyers really want to break it through, but the sellers are just not done selling it, but they will exhaust soon enough. And that's what's happening with this bullish downward channel. It's like a falling wedge kind of, and those are usually pretty bullish, especially now that, you know, there's a speculation going on that, you know, they might get listed on Coinbase. Oh yeah, that's coming too. So I'd say, and then we have to look, the most important supports and resistances are the horizontal ones. We want to go, that's the most simple thing you can do, is just draw some horizontal supports and resistances, and you don't even need the RSI or anything. Like, if you want to just be simple, just draw those lines, and then the bottom is like, you know, your that's your support. But then you also want to did I clone it? But you also want to check out the volume. So if something's selling down and the volume's going down too, the sell volume, the red, that's bullish. You know, the sellers are exhausting. They're getting exhausted. They're quitting. They're starting to not want to sell anymore. So it could. Nah, but it's I don't even think it'll draw down long enough to that point. But it could come all the way back down to this point, which would be like the 12th of November, which, oh, that's only tomorrow. You guys, I think this thing, I'd say this thing's gonna blow pretty soon, because look at that pressure to the upside of that channel. You don't see that very often without it going up sometime afterward, you know, within the channel. I could be wrong. You never know. I mean, it could have been a false pump, false hope, you know. I just don't know. I don't see it not getting listed. Sorry, I'm getting a little speck there. Okay. I don't see it not getting listed. But then, you know, I mean, it could also come down to this point. Why does it take so long to clone one of those lines? It could come down to the bottom of that. Anyways, that's Loom. It's been pumping. There's been a lot of activity, and there's a lot of people on Twitter like, what's going on with this coin? What's going on? Well, most people probably aren't putting two and two together. You got to do a little detective work and think a little outside the box, you know. But go to the year chart. I mean, that's barely anything. Look at that volume. Look at that upward volume. It's going nuts. I almost think that people are anticipating, or maybe there's a rumor. Maybe there's a rumor that it's going to be on Coinbase. So, and we see all the moving averages going up. I'm just saying, I think, I want to show you something real quick. Let's see if I can find it. You remember what happened with Omise Go when it got listed on poor Britney Spears? You see, they're just like fucking around with her. They put like the worst picture of her. They've been messing around with her for so long. It makes them money. Why not? Right? They don't give a fuck about people. These press, the mainstream media, news reporters, and they don't care. All they care about is that money. They're just chasing that money. So they'll smear people left and right. They don't care. People aren't even people to them. They're just products, you know, just disposable product that they use and then leave behind in the dust. Yep, see, for Coinbase listing. See, people are starting to talk about that. Loom, Coinbase listing. But I want to show you a comparison chart between Loom and Omise Go. Loom time. Yeah, so I'm telling you, people are going nuts. Like, what's going on with Loom? There was no announcement. No Loom announcement. Man, I was telling people like right away, like, wait, Loom? Because I went and checked it out. Let me show you. I checked it out. Loom, I believe, is on the Digital Currency Group's portfolio or something like that. Screenshots. I did a lot of investigative work the other day, and I have more to do, but these coins, there's a lot of coins here that are gonna make it. And Horizon, that's another one. Horizon. Where is that? Loom. Loom. So I think it's on the Trading Council. That's where I saw it. And that's a good thing. I mean, you want to look at those. You want to look at the Crypto Rating Council, okay? Because that's going to tell you a lot. Live Peer, I think that's going to be listed on Coinbase sooner or later. Yeah, and I'm telling you, like, these portfolios and these websites, Grayscale holds Zen. No one even talks about Zen. It's not even in the top 100, but it's one of the few that they hold. They have Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Litecoin, Zcash, XRP, XLM, and Zen. Zen. No one even talks about Zen, you know. And I was saying that, we saw it on the Bitcoin coloring book like a couple of years ago, in the description, that along with Polymath. I don't think it was a mistake. I really don't, because Polymath and Zen are both on the Crypto Rating Council. There's not a lot of cryptos on this website. It's not a whole lot. But, you know, I've told you before, but this was created by Brian Brooks, and it's being used by the SEC as a framework for, you know, to decide if crypto is a security or not. You know, and the higher the rating, the more likely it is to be a security. But if it's on the website, it's most likely not a security. Okay, and Augur, that's another one I'm very interested in, and I bought the other day, and I have rep. Thanks, Grant. Thanks, bro. Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm excited, man. It's coming. It feels like the beginning of April again. Remember the beginning of April? Damn, man, I have so much stuff to show you. Oh, man. The beginning of April. Let me see. Let's take a look. Bull market? I was walking around saying, check this out, man. Look at, this is the beginning. And it sure was, wasn't it? This was in May. This was in April. I was blessed, but I didn't. Oh, I wasn't walking around that day. With your resources. Knowing it'll help act with. Probably like bearable bull, like 2 hours. Yeah, so I mean, the link for this is. Anyways, doesn't matter. But telling you, feels like then, feels like back then, you know. And I'm telling you again, and you know, I pull from all different resources, and I tell you, you know, for free. So you're welcome, you know. I'm not trying to like toot my own horn. I'm just. A lot of people bag on me for no reason, you know. People hate on me all the time. I'm like, why? I'm just trying to help, you know. I'm just trying to help. And then people backstab me and all sorts of shit. So, but hey, I also have a ton of lovers. I have a ton of people who are just, it's very supportive. And I cannot, I can't ignore that. Cannot ignore that. So appreciate you guys. Now let's go down here. Was it on here? Was it Loom? Was it Loom on here? Let me see. It's either on this or the other one. Loom. Okay, this tells me right here the fact that it's on Coinbase Pro and the fact that it's on the Crypto Rating Council tells me it's probably going to be sold for widespread use, you know, on Coinbase. Loom. Okay, and so this thing is probably going to pull an Omise Go. And I'm going to try to find that again real quick. Let's see, top Loom, because it was a great comparison. He said, look what happens. Look what happened to Omise Go. Look at the chart before the Coinbase listing. And look at Loom's chart. It looked exactly the same. And we'll go check. Let's see. We'll find it. I should have saved them. Ah. Oh, by the way, Lunar Crush is talking about Loom now. Look at that. A lot of volume. It was, you know, those old forgotten coins, especially like Zen is coming up. You know, there's a few others I'll talk about. Thanks, Mariama. Thanks, John. Yeah, you guys are just great. You're always supportive and just saying positive things. I mean, you know, some guy commented. He said, "What do you think about ETH now, bitch? You know, you were dogging Ethereum so hard. What do you think now, bitch?" And I'm like, what are you talking about? Did I ever like dog Ethereum? I don't even remember doing that. I've always been bullish on Ethereum. So what are you talking about? You know, people are just like so nasty. Like, you know what? Like, I don't think those people are gonna, you know, those people are not happy. They're very upset. And they have to take it out on other people. So RSR, by the way, is on Coinbase custody now. You know, so that's good. I think Rentards. I'm excited. I've got Ren. Ren is up at the very top, not the highest, but I think it's number 2 now. Ren. I love Ren. I love Ren. I love it. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Carlos. Can't we all just get along? So yeah, have a great. I'm gonna go ahead and tweet that out, retweet it, because I'm a Redentard. Ren and Stimpy was my favorite show back in the day, and now I know why. Yeah, so I think there's more coming for Civic, more for Loom. I almost want to just. I bought Uni this morning. It's between Loom and Uni. But Uni's just, I think it's going to take off. UNI. I think Uni's going to take off. A lot of these are going to take off. RLC, I showed you guys. I showed on Twitter, I think, or even YouTube. I don't know. I'll say, hey, it's the very bottom. This is a great opportunity to buy. And what did it do? It spiked up right after I showed you guys, because it was at the very bottom of a channel. And now it's going up. It was, I think I said it right here, at the very bottom, right there at that point. Slowly reversing trends after a long downtrend. You guys, it was a tough autumn. You know, it was a tough fall, and literally all the alts fell. I mean, that was tough. But you know what? Hey, I'm still up from before the summer, because the summer was beautiful. I mean, now we're back. Okay, I think the next 2-3 months. And I'll show you that video, man. Oh. And he says something that blew me away, and I'm like, if that happens, I'll be so happy. Price prediction? I don't know. I think the price is going to be like $1,000, bro. Adam, dude, Cosmos, I'm stoked. I almost want to buy more of that. I bought back my 400 Uni this morning, and I bought that with the profit with the money I had from Civic, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Uni is going to be huge because they're coming out with Uniswap version 3, and I don't know. I think that's going to be like Uniswap's big, you know, like it's going to be like BNB. And I think I'm just gonna hold those. People sold them because like it's an airdrop, right? So you get free tokens, you're gonna sell them, right? Because you don't. I mean, everyone's getting them for free. They can't be worth that much. I think they're well. They were. You know, I sold mine at like 750. Now I bought back at 310, like 307, 308 or something like that. And I think it's gonna slowly go up. It's gonna just go up. Trying to find that Omise Go Loom comparison chart. And once I do, look at that. Loom. Omise Go is gonna kick ass too, you guys. When you look at the chart, oh jeez. Actually no. I keep going to other places before I finish my task at hand. Look at this. Okay, this is a day old, but this is Lunar Crush. I love Lunar Crush because they go by the same kind of thing I do, that I've been doing in my head for the last year or two. Sentiment, social sentiment is big. It's huge, especially in a speculative market, okay? So Civic was number one. Bam! Called that like 5 or 6 days ago. Ooh, right before it ran up 400%. And okay. Oh, look, you guys. Any Mantra DAO holders? Congratulations. You're probably going to do well in the next few months. Okay. Reserve rights. This was a social sentiment coin. Now they're on Coinbase custody. I bet Coinbase. I mean, I'm sure reserve rights, you know, doing okay. I hate that. I always do the sideways thing. So I just want to check out reserve right real quick. Reserve right. And I mean, just because they're on Coinbase custody doesn't mean too much, but it does. Because now they're picking and choosing who gets on. I think it used to be like you pay this and like you would basically get on. I'm not really sure, but if they're going to be in Coinbase custody, that's pretty big, you know. It's not. Yeah, people probably sold the news. That's the thing. So on these occasions, yeah, okay. So it did shoot up. People are selling off. It could easily shoot up again though, but RSR's been doing really good. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Oh yeah. Wait. Yeah, that's good. Volume. The slow curve up. There's another one who's curving up. That's curving up. Called Audio. I think I told you guys about this in the live stream the other day. This one is looking amazing. This is probably a good opportunity to buy. I bought some the other day. But I think it's gonna blow. Look at that. Fake out. Look how slow and naturally it's going up. Just nice. So, or I mean, it might actually. A lot of times, what people do is, if this is like number 4, oh, it's like about 400 in market cap. A lot of times, people sell the low market cap alts into Ethereum, or right now Ethereum. People are selling everything into Ethereum, you know. So if a lot of them are kind of starting to go down, it's being sold into Bitcoin and Ethereum mostly. That's what I think, because Ethereum is just gonna blow. Let's take a look at that one real quick. Let's take a look at that. I mean, these are just general charts. This isn't like trading view, but this gives you a general idea of the direction it's headed. Oh yeah, it was like 460 just this morning, just a few hours ago. So look at the max chart. Oh, it's like instead of a melt down, it's a melt up. A melt up. And look at that volume. It's picking up, picking up. It looks like a massive cup and handle, to be honest. That's nice. I mean, it's going to probably like the top of this, you know, or maybe the bottom of this. Somewhere around the bottom of this one. What, I can't, it's too, okay. Probably the top of this, actually. Yeah, so I mean, it'll go somewhere up there, I bet, and then take a dip. But I think it's gonna shoot up, and I love it because it's gonna carry along most of the alts, especially the ERC20 tokens. But then there's also gonna be the Ethereum killers that are gonna take some of the profit from Ethereum. You know, there's gonna be Tron, Cardano, Tezos. Tezos, get in now while you got the chance. I mean, let's take a look at that one too. I don't hold any. I really haven't been in Tezos too much. I'm just telling you guys because I know a lot of people are in it. You guys are in it. You guys love Tezos. I should probably, but like I said, I get sentiment. I don't have enough information on it to feel good about holding it right now. And plus, it hasn't been doing that well, you know, lately, the last few months. It really hasn't. That's probably a good reason it'll pump. Same as like 0x. Yeah, oh, yeah, it's still low. Oh, this is a good, might be like last chance to get in low. Let's zoom out. Oh, yeah, it's starting to go. Look at that. Yeah, it's starting to go. It's starting to go. I mean, it hit the, let's take a look at it on the chart. Tezos. Get your Tezos here. Let's see, XTZ. We'll go to actually USDT. Binance. And yeah, it popped out. Looks like it. Oh, no. Hold on. Dang, it might have more downside. I hope not. Oh yeah, it looks like it's breaking out. Let's take a look a little closer. Oh yeah, it's very close. Very close. Actually, it hasn't broken out yet, but it really looks like it wants to. And then once Ethereum goes, it could actually break to the downside because people in Tezos, since they have a similar concept, Tezos is supposed to be a better Ethereum, but no one's building on Tezos, not yet. Same as Cardano, you know, there's a few. Now Cardano's picking up traction, finally starting to pick up traction. I'm stoked that I've just been holding Cardano with faith, and now it's doing something. It's starting. I think it's gonna pump pretty hard this upcoming year. Well, I mean, that's actually probably maybe give it another week or two to decide, unless it breaks out of the top of this. Okay. It does look like it wants to break out though. But no. I think it's gonna roll over once more. Because this is only a third time it's really tapping. I don't know. Actually, I mean, if alts take off, this will take off too. Okay, so maybe dollar cost. If you're trying to get in, dollar cost average. If you're holding, congratulations. You're smart. You know, it's gonna do something. It always does. Look at that. It really does look like it wants to pop up. It is undecided. The volume's not rising. It's staying about the same. If we see a big green candle, the volume is going to spike. It'll just pop right through. See how much it's respecting the moving averages. Moving averages are starting to trend upward a little. To get all of them, that's a good sign. But it is right at the top of the whatever that one is, the yellow one. I think that's the 50-day maybe, the 100-day. That's the 50-day, I think. So then almost looks like it was a double bottom right there. That might be a perfect double bottom, actually. And you want to look for those too. Double bottoms are very telling. And then paired with volume and stuff like that, you know. So anyways, I'm not going to pay too much attention to it because I'm not in it. There's just other ones that I think have more potential to explode. Like 0x. I'm in 0x. Very highly underrated, but when it explodes, it just goes, and then it catches everyone off guard. Cosmos has been building up. So some of them build up, and then you know they're coming. Some of them don't, you know. I really want to find that, though. That Loom chart against the OMG. VeChain's probably going to have a good month, too. I'm hearing a lot of traders, like a lot of YouTube people, saying VeChain's going to have a good November. Stratus is another one. I don't hold it. I don't know much about it, but I've been hearing about it. Uniswap, baby. This thing is gonna. Let's take a look at that. I don't know if I'll find it on TradingView though. Probably should. Yeah. Yeah. It's just going up a leg, down a leg, up a leg, down a leg. Now you see it kind of wants to break that resistance. Yeah, see, and I had this chart drawn a long time ago, or a while ago, and it broke kind of out of there. Let's see how it broke. And you see how it was building up against the top of it? That's what I'm saying. If it butts up against the top of something enough, you know it really wants to break up. And that's why I'm looking at Loom. Loom might be just about to blow. Loom. Okay, we'll take a look at this, and I'll go back to Loom. Okay, because this one did. It broke right out of the top. And I was expecting that. I mean, I don't know, I think this might behave similarly to the BNB coin because it has utility and it's a very high volume exchange and it's decentralized. So when we have the next DeFi run, which seems to be right around the corner, Uniswap should be used. I think it'll be used a lot. Yeah, so I mean, it came down, it broke right out of the top, then it kind of confirmed by butting back down on the, you know, past resistance, future support. And now it's starting to take off. Now, but we want to also look at horizontal resistances. Like right here, it's right at resistance. Yeah, it's gonna butt up against resistance pretty soon. But there's not a whole lot of chart to go with, so it's kind of I bet it's gonna go in price discovery, you know, sometime within the next 2 months, I'd say. Also, though, it could come back down. This is a rising wedge pattern, rising channel, and sometimes, well, that's not always bullish. And then also the volume kind of is going down a little. This could actually go down before it goes up more. Could, it really could. I mean, when you're buying something, you want to buy at the bottom, you know? That's the best feeling, knowing you bought at the right place. But then, remember Bitcoin? It was in rising channels. this year quite a few times, and but it just kept going up, and then it would break up through the rising channel. So I'm used to the bear market, you know, charting during the bear market. Now we're charting during a bull market, and it's a lot easier to trade. So typically, though, these patterns tend to be bearish. And then especially when you pair it with like falling volume, people are not buying as much as they were, you know, a few days ago or a week ago or so. And so rising price paired with falling volume typically is a bearish indicator, but in these times it's kind of difficult because fundamentals really do matter a lot, especially when there's not a lot of chart to go off of. But the fundamentals of what's coming will decide how the chart behaves. I'm going to take a look at Ren. I'm very bullish on this one. I'm stoked. Yeah, and it's creating an ascending triangle type of pattern as well. That's cool. I didn't even notice that till right now. Let's take a look. Yep. That's going to break within 2 or 3 days. It's going to break upward, I think, through the ascending triangle type pattern that we see. It already fell out of the rising wedge, the short-term rising wedge that it was in, and then it broke to the downside of, and it created this support, or it actually broke. It didn't even, the support was already created. That's a good thing. So stoked. Man, I love Ren. Ren just pumps like nothing else. You see these big green candles? This is just October, but let's go take a look at August. Let's take a look at that. I mean, this was the best day trading coin. You'd buy one day, the next day it'd be up 20%. It'd come down 10%, you buy again, it's up another 20% the next day. Yeah, so I mean, this is like kind of where we're at. We're basically like right over here, guys. We're kind of like over here. Now we should see some kind of big drop though. I don't think it'll be long-lived, you know. I don't think it'll stay down. Maybe for at most it'll stay down like a couple weeks. But we're just expecting a big drop if all the markets crash, like for instance, like if we have to vote again, if the election is just because of all the stuff that's going on, if we had to go vote again, like if they cancel the election, the whole markets would crash, and that'd be a good excuse to crash the markets. So I think it's gonna be in December, and then we'll see, you know, more upside after that. So looks like we're kind of like over here, you know, in comparison. And we're gonna see another run up like this, but this is what I'm talking about. You know, it didn't even come down. Like it would barely come down. Every day it was just up. It'd be kind of coming down a little, of course, but it was still green. Like every day it was green. It was never red for like a whole month straight. It was not red at all. Barely, maybe a little. But Ren, you know, I love it. And it looks just like the chain link chart to me. See that building volume? See that parabolic curve starting to run up? Also too though, you know what? We have to take into account that it's kind of budging up against a resistance here. Oh, it broke out. Okay, good. It already broke out of the resistance. That's a great thing. So you see that right here. It was creating a bull flag, and it didn't really care. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go back down and finish this bull flag out. It just said, no, it's time to go. It's time to go, and it's time to go. Look, you guys, I'm telling you, that's an ascending triangle. The momentum is just not stopping. It's just building and building. And this thing really wants to blow up, just like Omise Go. We'll go check out Loom, though. We're going to check out Loom again. I'm telling you, it's the DeFi coins right now. DeFis are going to go... All the others will go up too, but the DeFi coins are just going to go crazy. They're going to go nuts. And the privacy coins, too. And I want to show you... I got to show you that video. Right after this, I'll show you that video. Right, he makes a lot of sense, and I gained a lot of respect for this guy. He's always been saying smart things, and I just never really thought about what he was saying. But now, after watching that video, I was like, this guy's very smart, and I like how he thinks so outside the box. No one else is saying the things he's saying. Oops. Loon. Yeah, okay. So I was talking about it butting up against the top of this wedge. Really wants to break out. Oh yeah, yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell my uni right now. I'm just going to buy some Loom. It wants to break out again, I think. I think by tomorrow. You know, sometime today. Look at the crossovers on the moving averages. Yeah, the 200 daily moving average, it's trending up. Starting to trend up. This thing's been dormant for so long. And now you see that volume just going up. Like now it's just kind of, it shot up. It went parabolic for a few days. Now it came down, but the thing is, let me see, when was the Omise Go announcement? Yeah, so any coins that they announce that it's going to be on Coinbase that are like in the top 300, top 400, like but low market cap, like 5 million, 8 million, 10 million, you want to buy those as soon as you hear that they're going to be on Coinbase, because those things are going to explode, because they're going to go up to basically near the top 100, but they're going to at least go into the top 200, because those are the coins that'll make it. You know, and those are the coins people have eyes on, and I think they time these announcements accordingly. They time them for just the right time, and of course they stack their bags. You know, don't tell me they don't know. Don't tell me there's not inside people who talk about the next listing. You know, don't tell anyone. But Civic, District X, and Decentraland are going to get listed in 5 days, right? Don't buy a shitload, you know, just, you can buy a little though, and you'll get rich. Because they're all, you know, Civic was like number 250. District 0x was like in the 400s or something. Or it might have been like 350 or something like that. The Coinbase effect is back. Okay, it kind of went away during the bear market, except for Chainlink. Tells you something about Chainlink. But the Coinbase effect was something that people talked about. Oh, if announcements if it gets announced as being listed on Coinbase, it flies. It goes way up because Coinbase is one of the most well-known exchanges, and it's one of the first exchanges that people really know about. And with a fiat to with an on-ramp, a fiat on-ramp, and now it's back. I want to see what date, and then I'll show you what happened, and then I'll compare the chart to Loom. OMG, this was on May 21st. So let's go take a look at OMG on May 21st. And we'll see if it was kind of pumping a little beforehand. And if it was, then we know, well, there was probably, certain people who knew something. They knew about it beforehand. And it's still pumping. There's a great use case for this. I think the modern investor said it could go to like $500. He said if it performs the way it's supposed to, and he said this like years ago, like 3-4 years ago, I think. He was saying he's very bullish on Omisego. And he's not bullish on a lot of alts. May 21st. Let's take a look at May 21st. Where's May 21st? Right there. So it was pumping before, you see? That might have been it following Bitcoin, but also it looks like that people might have known that it was going to get listed because of those big green candles right before May 21st. That's the day retail bought Omisego, and then the people who were buying down here, and they've been accumulating the whole time, they sold off for profit so they can get into other alts that were low because they're smart. Okay, they sold off after the announcement. You wait for the big pump. It usually lasts a few days. Okay, look at Civic. It only lasted about 4 or 5 days. Then it sold off. But Civic is probably gonna go again, like Omisego did over here. All right, it's probably gonna, the latecomers who heard about all the mania after the Coinbase listing but didn't get in on time. They're waiting for that little bottom so that they can ride the next pump. But it usually doesn't go past that all-time high, or it doesn't go past that high of the first pump unless we're in a bull market, and that's what we're in. That's why Civic could actually blast past 16 cents. It could blast past that. And Loom hasn't even had a Coinbase announcement. Imagine when it does. And why are people pumping it so hard? Why are people buying so much right now? They're basically anticipating a Coinbase announcement, which would blow it up into Civic. Didn't start dumping until right when it hit the top 100. No one else will tell you this shit. No one else puts this shit together. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but that's why you're here watching me, because I tell you little tidbits of information that no one else tells you. Civic started dumping right after it came from, it was like 250 or something in the market cap. It was way up there. That's why I bought it. I was like, oh shit. Well, this is on the Crypto Rating Council. No. Is it up? It might be on the Crypto Rating Council, but it was on the, it's in the Digital Currency Group's portfolio, and you know what I say about them. I had my interview with Kent Lewis, and so far he's correct. So yeah, people buy it, and the intention is to get it up to the top 100. Okay, because if you're not in the top 100 or so, you might not make it. I think right now it's like 200, the top 200, you feel safe. If you're in a project that's in the top 200, you feel safe. If you're a developer, or, if you're the head of a company or a foundation or a blockchain or whatever, and your project's not in the top 200 right now, you're not feeling as safe as you could. Do what your heart tells you to do, Emmer. So yeah, it went to the top 100, then it went boop, and that's when I sold. I was like, that's another reason I sold too. I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna go to the top 100, and then I didn't think it was gonna happen that fast, but it did. I was like, oh shit, but it's still pumping. I'm like, I gotta get out right now, or I'm gonna regret it. I knew it. I was gonna regret it. I've done it too many times. No, like, well, look at the title of my, you know, look at the title of my video. That's all you have to do, you know. So that's what happened. People were anticipating. There was a few people who probably knew, you know, something about the listing a few weeks ahead of time, or maybe a few months. See, the people who knew like this far ahead are probably the execs at Coinbase, you know, Congress people, you know, these high up people in the Treasury, you know. Donald Trump was probably buying, you know. He said, "We need God," and then the OMG starts trending, you know. Remember that? I'm telling you, and that's another reason Omise Go is going to be big, because new people are going to come in. They're going to see this this little catchphrase that they've seen for the last decade over and over and over through their little texts and through Twitter. OMG, blah, 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 OMG. You know how many times that's used every day? How many other tickers are one of those? You know, link, okay, send the link to this. That's a big one too. You know, link is very well used. I'm telling you, that's not what I base my decisions off of, but I do think these things, you know, and if I don't say them out loud, then someone else does. And I'm like, dude, I've been thinking about the whole time. I should have said something about it, you know, but it's true. You know, OMG is big. They're going to see, okay, it's going to be stupid people who, oh, OMG, I know OMG. I'm familiar with that. I'm going to buy it. You know, these retail buyers that come in from PayPal or what, you know, if they do start listing more coins on PayPal, but new people, they'll come in. They won't have, there's people who just don't know how to find, they don't have any resources. They don't understand. I used to be like that. I used to be a noob to the internet. I was kind of a latecomer to the internet, to be honest. But I was hungry for like, wait, how do people know things? Like, how do people know all these things? And I did this all on my own. I figured out how to find out information now, and that's why I started a YouTube channel about 2 years ago, because I was like, dude, I figured it out. I figured out how to make it, you know, on my own, how to figure stuff out. Twitter, you know, how to use the resources that I have, the tools I have to my advantage. And I'm so excited about it. I want to share with other people what I've been able to figure out, you know, because I wish I had some person like that I resonated with, that I could relate to, telling me on YouTube how to figure this stuff out, you know. That's just how it goes, you know. And so anyways, they listed on May 21st, so it pumped. But then look what happened later. It kind of went down a little more. It just kind of flagged down, created a falling wedge. Broke out of the falling wedge, then started its uptrend. And look what happened, man. May 21st, how much was it on May 21st? Before, let's see, the day before May 21st, it was a dollar. Let's say it was $1.15. And then a few months later, just like two and a half months later, or like 3 months later, it had done a 10x, almost a 10x by then. 10x, you know, if you had put $1,000 in before the listing and just held for like 3 months, you would have you had $10,000, you know, almost, give or take. So, you know what I'm saying? If you would put $10,000 in, now you would have, if you had sold somewhere around the top at least, you would have $100,000. out of nowhere. You know, if you had $1 million, if you put $1 million in, you know, you probably would have moved it a little. Well, I don't know. It's pretty high. It's up in the billions now, I think. Maybe hundreds of millions market cap. But it's happening again. You see, people are starting to buy again in anticipation of a big run up. This thing's going to go way up because it's helping Ethereum scale, and Ethereum is about to run too. So if Ethereum goes, I think Omise will go too. That's what I think. It's going to spike. It's going to blow. This thing, man, look at that. It's beautiful. But look, too, there's another one that we could create here. Another flag or pennant right here. And it broke out of that. Look at that. Broke right out of that. Yeah, I mean, this is a clear-cut breakout. Now it just has to get above the next 2 humps or so. And then it could go into price discovery. Or, you know, something like that. It might take a little bit longer than that, but... let me show you the video. Let me show you the Loom chart compared to this one. Alright, so we have this chart. Omise go. I'm going to put one of these little fingers where May 21st is. Okay. May 21st. All right. Now, imagine this is like the Loom run up, or one of these actually, just within a few days. We're probably even closer to over here for the Loom run up, because it started running before the listing. Now, I'm not saying it's going to get listed. I don't know. I haven't heard any confirmation of that. I'm just saying it would make sense. Cool. Yeah. Adam, I think Cosmos is going to, it's going to go crazy. Yeah, I think it's going to go nuts. I'm so glad I had good friends that would show me their portfolio, and I'm like, oh, yeah, dude, I should make my portfolio look a little more like yours, you know? So we can zoom out, zoom out this way, and look how far it went up, man. From there. So let's go to Loom real quick, and then I'll show you this video. Zoom out. Zoom out. See how low that is? It hasn't even pumped. I mean, it looks like it. I mean, it did. It spiked, but it's coming down. That's a good sign, I think. Look how high it spiked. It broke the resistances, too. It broke resistances. Good thing. So, I don't know. I mean... And then I like to look on Twitter, and then there's people with sentiment, especially when people have a good reputation who are talking about it on Twitter. Okay, also too, it's right here. It's on Lunar Crushes in the top 4 social sentiment indicator. Loom latest. Let's take a look at the latest on Loom. Buy that Loom dip. Easy 20% if it retains its 14-day. Easy 20%. This guy's saying aliens accumulate Loom for... Nice. What is it at right now? That says 205. It's at 192. Dang, dude. Let's get some loam. Oh, I'm gonna buy this right after the stream. No, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna buy it right here. I gotta buy that. I bought some uni. I'm gonna sell that uni. I think Loom has a better chance. Don't follow this advice. You know what? I'm not gonna do that right now. I'll do it after the stream. I'll do it after the stream. Don't ever do what I do unless you do a lot of research and you know what you're doing. That's beautiful. Yeah, by midnight. Sometime today it's gonna start going up, I think. And yeah, I mean, I think it'll at least go to the that green line up here. Like it'll at least come up to here somewhere. Yeah, it'll probably go whoop, and it might come down again, or it might kind of build up and then break upward. I don't know. I'm hoping for that Coinbase listing. It might happen, might not. There's another one called Golem, GNT. You want me to check out Ocean? Okay. Yeah, I've got Ocean. Ocean's been doing well. That looks pretty bullish, but looks like it's going to come down to the probably going to come down and hit one of the moving averages again. Oh, but that looks bullish though. That's some bullish volume coming in. Dude, this thing wants to blow. Again, this thing wants to go even higher, I think. Damn. And it has potential to, but it's like number 67 in the coin market cap. Ooh. It's like a scoop. I like that, man. That's looking nice. I haven't even looked. I haven't checked it out. It looks like a big cup and handle. And what exchange was it on before? KuCoin? Before Binance. Ah, Bittrex. No, oh yeah. There we go. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if we look at this, when it blew up back in July and August, it only came back down on the 20-day moving average and tapped it once. Look at this. So it was above the 20-day. It tapped it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. And then the seventh try at the peak, that's when it started crashing through the 20-day. So yeah, this thing does like to respect the 20-day moving average. Which means, right, you know, it could come back down. I wouldn't buy it right now. Not after that kind of pump, you know. You want to buy the bottoms. That's what you want to buy, the bottoms, but it's up to you, you know. But if you're holding, congratulations. Yeah, this thing, it looks like Chainlink, kind of like it wants to just go above the top. It wants to pull another all-time high and go into price discovery again. Let's take a look at Chainlink. Link is like the most liquid coin out there almost. You can find it on like every exchange, man. I'm telling you, Ink is like Ethereum. It's the next Ethereum run. I'm telling you. Link. It'll probably be in the top 3, okay, by the end of next year. I mean, might even by the end of this year, it might be in the top 3. No lie. I'll take a look at that. See, it's kind of like Ocean and Linker have a similar type of chart. A lot of green interest in Chainlink lately. I like that. I bought some the other day too. Forgot what I bought it with. I had something I bought it with. I forgot. Pretty much all my cash went into the market right at this point. I was waiting for a big drop, but you know what? I'm you know, I don't think it's coming this month. It might. Who knows? But that is just such a nice like swing trading pattern. Like every week or so, you buy low, and now it's creating an upwards form. But it looks like it really Link is gonna shoot the F up. No, I mean Link is probably gonna see like a massive green candle sometime soon. So if you haven't got in yet, you still have a chance. Now I always set the rule for myself. $5 and $10 were my buy limits. But at this point, you know, it's close enough to $10 for where I think it's going, which is 500 or 1,000 maybe. There's a few more, like Ripio Credit Network. I'm telling you, very underrated. Ripio. Okay, let's check out this channel. Let's check out this video.
It's not all official yet. It's not. They are going to try to mess with Pennsylvania. Now, why do we care about that? Well, this is a 4-hour chart of the dollar index. And as you can see over here, whether we know who the president of the United States is or we don't, the election came out crypto friendly and that the dollar went down. Okay. Now, for crypto traders out there, of course, you're following crypto, not the normie world, I understand. But on January 5th, there's going to be a contest in Atlanta that's going to determine who controls the U.S. Senate. Okay. So the parade of ineptitude is not over. And I can't believe it's dollar friendly. It just isn't. Now, here's a friendly face. This is our new proposed Treasury Secretary. Okay. Now, this is a cutout from Zero Hedge. I'll leave it up on the screen if you want to read it on YouTube, but let me give you the high points. She's from the Fed. That's where they print the money at the Fed and they give it to the Treasury. So now the person at the Treasury is from the Fed.
Merry Christmas.
Okay? Merry Christmas. Okay. Now, down here in the second paragraph, she notes that one of the biggest risks for the economy is if they fail to produce additional fiscal support. Okay? So naturally, we don't want anybody to be hurting at Christmas or at the holidays. But the fact of the matter is, folks, if we don't know who the president is, the election's not fully done, and even if it is, we don't know who's running the Senate until January 5th. So that means no package until after the election. Now, when we have somebody from the Fed running the Treasury, the last line comes to mind. Okay, it says in January, she gave a speech highlighting reform efforts necessary to encourage more lending in low and moderate income markets. You know what? Let me ask you something. How can central banks print money and have that get into the hands of the poorest people in the world or in the United States? How does that happen? Well, yeah, you could get a loan for a donut shop or whatever, or we could have crypto QE. All right. So there's
Listen
crypto
to
to the moon. There's crypto to the moon and beyond. And then this idea probably makes me a complete space case. People are going to think I'm crazy, which is great, because those are the ideas that wind up working. And here's something that I put out on our Twitter. The big surprise is when central banks, okay, start adding crypto assets to their balance sheet as a part of QE. In other words, when the Fed prints money, they don't just drop it out of a helicopter, although that might be helpful in this case, but that's not how it works. They buy assets, they buy stocks, they buy junk bonds. And my comment is, well, if they can't get fiscal stimulus done and everybody at the Fed is running the Fed and everybody at the Fed is running the Treasury, then why not buy what's in everybody's PayPal account now? Like Bitcoin. Okay. So, if the people are coming, the corporations are coming, and the central banks will eventually figure it out, how high can it go? Older guys on Twitter like to draw parabolas. Younger guys like it too. So I figured out how to use the tool, the paint tool, just to draw it manually in Bitcoin. And it's basically a perfect parabola back from high school math, right? So why don't we just go to 20,000? Okay, but I don't even think that's the big move, right? In other words, you know, Tokenmetrics has been getting some press. People are calling, they want to write about Bitcoin. Okay, that's great. We're happy to help them. Okay, but for the live stream, we save the good stuff for our audience. Where's the big move going to be? Now, I know we talk about this every single show for a year, but we're not going to stop. Because now we got a fantastic looking green candlestick on the Ethereum weekly chart. As a matter of fact, it looks just like the one that started the mega down move in 2018 and the one that started the mega up move in 2017. Both moves were practically parabolic. In other words, they went straight in one direction. Okay? So let me ask you this. What exactly is stopping Ethereum from going to 1,500? Well, probably miners selling, right, from the gas fees, right? They earned a lot of ETH, okay? So that's probably why Ethereum's been a little slow. But what happens when the miners get done selling, right? I think they're done selling now. And you will know when they're done selling because ETH will just be at 800 one day. Yeah. Taking a page from the Tokenmetrics indices page. Okay. Check this out. So I call this the crypto QE portfolio. This is our value investor. In other words, I don't know, stuff that's considered undervalued, underappreciated. But take a look.
0x and Cosmos.
For our value index, right?
Zcash.
So starting on the left-hand corner, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, right? And then moving right, you have Monero, Dash, and Zcash. Now, all of those cryptos have one thing in common. They're all used as money, particularly Dash in third world countries. Okay.
He's making a lot of sense. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, Dash, Zcash are all used as literal money. They're passed back and forth as currency to pay for things, especially in third world countries.
0x, Coinbase, Cosmos, blockchain plumbing, along with Matic. Okay. Now, I would guess that if I was at the Fed and I said, or I was anywhere, any central bank, or even maybe corporations, and said, hey, you know, guys, I want to have a couple different types of money on our books. Our artificial intelligence is picking this up for the quarter.
All right.
Now,
keep that in mind. Bill, yeah. I think he's part of Tokenmetrics. I think he's actually one of the heads at Tokenmetrics. Because he tweeted out using the Tokenmetrics Twitter. So what he's saying is that Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, Monero, Zcash, Matic, 0x, and Cosmos could potentially be put on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. Keep that in mind in case it happens. Then we will definitely know he knows something, or token metrics actually works, and it does. And token metrics is great. He uses AI to track and predict the next market moves in different coins and which ones are going to move first, which ones are going to, and it's very, very accurate. You know, I tried it for a few weeks, and it's expensive. I think it's like $200 a month, something like that. But people use it to their advantage for trading, and I would recommend. I'm recommending to myself too. I don't have any. Well, I have a little, but Zcash. Zcash is very highly underrated. 0x, highly underrated. It was one of Tika Tawari's coins, and there's a few other gurus or whatever they are, whatever you want to call them, who are recommending 0x. Cosmos, we've gone over Cosmos quite a few times. We see the symbol, the 0 with the strike in it. We've seen all the symbology. Cosmos is going to be big. And it's been up there in the top 25 for quite a while. Top 30. Just chilling there for a while. No one was ever talking about it. But Ripple, Ripple is Tendermint, I guess. They're partnered with Cosmos. They're using Cosmos, the interoperability of blockchains. It's like the internet of blockchain, basically. I want to buy some more. It is highly underrated, to be honest. But 0x too. 0x it's gonna fly, and I'm happy to have both of those in my portfolio. I would like some more Zcash. Monero's great. Monero, it really is. It's been going up all year. Monero's great. So now he also moves on and talks about some other things.
Total crypto market cap. These are kind of, these are the Ian Bellina spectacular charts, I think. Total crypto market cap. What's it been doing lately? Nothing. As you can see on the right axis, it's like about 140 billion right now, or 150 billion. And I don't see any reason why, given this Elliott wave structure, that the market couldn't add $50 billion to alt market cap, like in a hurry. Because when you have these, what's called a fifth wave, right? When you have that final leg up, it's just vertical. It's the moon, right? Now, if you go to Bitcoin dominance, okay? So Bitcoin dominance got to a level here where on the left-hand side, it kind of consolidated here during June. And that's where Bitcoin dominance fell out of bed when DeFi took off. So Bitcoin did nothing, DeFi exploded, Bitcoin dominance went down. Then over here on the right, you can see it looked like Bitcoin dominance was going to the moon. Naturally, when everyone thinks that, it's wrong, and then it turns around, okay? And then suddenly altcoins come back into favor. Now, I do think Bitcoin's going up, okay? But whatever Bitcoin can do, if Bitcoin goes up 25%, ETH could do it 2x. Now, if ETH can do it 2x, can you imagine what DeFi can do? Now, this is not something I drew after I had a couple beers. I've been thinking about this, and then I saw it in a chat room that's filled with really smart people. Okay, so let's just talk about basic Elliott wave. The parts that you want to catch are the third part and the fifth part. That's where the really big move comes. It's where you get the most gratification. It's called impulsive, like up every day. Okay? Now, if you look at DeFi, this is the DeFi futures contract, right? So from July to September, it went up, and DeFi was, DeFi was going to change the world. And then DeFi corrected, and then DeFi was going to zero, and crypto was illegal, and, that was it. It was over. We were going to have to trade NFTs for the rest of our life. Whatever. Not true. And then normally when everyone thinks that, DeFi bottoms. And then DeFi goes into a three wave, which is the biggest part of the trend. So that could mean Aave, Ren,
Link,
Right.
Ren. He says Ren.
Maybe even Wi-Fi and compound.
Wi-Fi was up like 60% the other day out of nowhere.
Yet. And of course, Chainlink, right?
Chainlink.
We're talking about some of these tokens possibly 10xing off this move between like now and say January. In other words, if the government wants to act nonsensically, no problem. Right? Like the next Treasury chairman, the next person in charge of Treasury is from the place where they print the money. And then if we don't know who the president is, okay, then it's chaos. Now, a little bit of shilling for tokenmetrics. I have been watching what our AI has been telling us for day trades for the last week throughout the election, right? So we're all worried about it on the sidelines. And I think it's really interesting that like Uniswap appeared. Uniswap appeared as a day trade every day for like 6 straight days. And then it went up 20% 3 days in a row. Bitcoin and Ethereum are both on those lists. So RAI is telling you that it is possible that you could have these melt-up style moves in even the big currencies. In other words, everybody could go Uniswap. All right. So that's the market update.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Always great insights as always. Let's check in here with the audience and see if we have a few questions here. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to this video. What's up, everybody? Faisal says Uniswap is going big. Okay, here's a question. Trump is going to start suing on Monday. What would happen?
Okay, so this is a great question. So here's what I think their strategy is. So now we're going to move from crypto to politics, and hopefully I can bring it back to crypto. So if I was a strategist for Donald Trump, I would take a one step at a time approach, right? Trump is essentially saying that he went to bed on election night up big, and then all these ballots appeared in the middle of the night. Now, we're crypto. Who cares, right? We're laughing at these people counting paper ballots. Really?
Right.
All right.
Like everyone in crypto is like, wait,
do,
use blockchain. It's right there. It's right there. Use it. But everyone else is like, what's blockchain? Get out of here with that shit.
Show that one of the key states was subject to massive fraud. In Philadelphia, I studied the history of American cities and American city politics in college. My professor had a joke that in big cities, not only do the dead vote, but they vote twice. Now, if Trump's caught these guys in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, the Supreme Court has, in the past, thrown out election results and say, go back to the polls and do it over. That could mean everyone has to show up at the polls to vote again.
Or they could vote from their phone.
And God help us all if they did that in Pennsylvania, and instead of losing by 32,000, Trump won by 150. That means all the other states are probably BS. So they're trying to get one state to get the whole thing in question. Now, is that going to work? I would imagine it probably won't work because the court of public opinion will probably be against Trump. All right, now, you have to be prepared coming back to crypto for the kind of sharp dips that we saw. So yes, I think the market can go parabolic, but I do think you're going to get dips. And you got to take advantage of those dips because they're going to be short-lived. Because if we don't know who the president of the United States is, if we do know who the president of the United States is and they cannot get stimulus through, And if it's a blue wave and everybody in Georgia votes blue for senators, then crypto is going up under any of these circumstances, because the dollar would just absolutely crash. The only scenario where I see crypto getting destroyed is where, like, if the Supreme Court literally throws out the entire election and they have to start over. Right. I mean,
that could
That
happen.
would be the black swan. In the meantime, I think it's like 3 to 4 events favoring crypto, 1 against.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would definitely be crazy. I mean, but it's 2020. So,
Right.
you know, the year's not over yet.
Anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
Right. Trump's been really quiet. Have you noticed that? Like,
Yeah, too
you know,
quiet.
they're either cutting him a deal for a job to go away, right? Because he's out of a job technically, so he can look for a job. So
He just needs to write a book. That's
a
it.
new job to go away, or they got something red hot.
Yeah. Now, I've also been hearing that if he does lose, once everything's kind of made final, if he ends up losing, he could also run again 4 years later, because you have 2 terms to run as president, which would be pretty crazy as well. All right, but tell us what you think down in the comments below.
You're magnifying or decreasing the P&L, the profit.
Is this blockchain backer? Who's that? Cracking crypto. It's hard to find good videos nowadays on YouTube. All I see is like politics and shit. I don't like that. Now, Data Dash, I strongly recommend watching him. He's very good. Most of his predictions, or usually what he says, comes true more often than most YouTubers, including me. Data Dash is great. He really is. I listen to him every morning. Every morning. He's great. And I also listen to this guy too, Patrick Bet-David. I've been watching some like Mike Tyson and Michael Jordan clips and sports clips to get my mind off of the politics. This guy is a permabull. He's only right like half the time, so be careful with this guy. Crypto. He's very excited all the time, but it gets him views, you know? Look at 10 hours, he got 31,000 views. But this time I believe he is right. I believe he's correct. Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki. Cashflow Nexus. Make sure you subscribe to him. He's good. He's good at TA. Next big trend in crypto.
Now, time for question of the day. What is the next big trend in crypto?
Oh,
We're about to wrap up 2020. We're heading into 2021.
let's take a look.
What big trend will lead and be the catalyst for crypto going to the moon and beyond? Is it Bitcoin? Is it Ethereum? Is it DeFi? NFTs? Or others? So go to menti.com, menti.com, use the code 884000137, and tell us what you think. Bill, so what's your take? What do you think is going to be the next big trend in crypto?
You know what? I'm going to step way out on a limb. This is the Bill Way Out on a Limb show. I'm going to go with other, and I think the other could be privacy. Okay? In other words, if people perceive that their wallets are about to get light, these privacy coins, like Monero's been going up all year, probably because McAfee got arrested and stopped selling it. Okay? But people may start thinking about having these privacy coins as just a trade,
Zcash, I'm telling you, Zcash, it's so low. It's going to fly, I bet. It's going to fly.
They go up. I mean, if you look at what some of these coins are capable of doing.
Plus, this month is Zcash's first halving ever. And after the halving, I think it's going to blow. Even maybe before.
Yeah, they could 2x. I think my second my second choice would be DeFi, because I don't think DeFi is dead. I think governance tokens may not be so good. Okay, they may underperform, but there are going to be aspects of DeFi, particularly when Polkadot comes online. DeFi is not dead, right? And you got to watch out for the Link Marines, right?
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
They're not.
Yeah. So, I mean, going on that list, I mean, everyone is talking about NFTs, and I think that if everyone's talking about it, it's not its time to shine yet. I think it's too early. I've tried looking into it and trying to see what all that hype is about. Maybe I missed something. But I mean, yes, I do think there is a valid use case for NFTs, but I just don't think it's going to be the big trend to take crypto mainstream or to take just crypto into the moon and beyond.
Yeah, so NFTs might not be here till next year. People are talking about them. Like he said, people are talking about them. Might not be, because they're not really blowing up right now. I think we're going to have to wait till next year for NFTs. Who knows, though? I mean, it might come this, by the end of this year, the NFT craze.
I think ETH 2.0 is going to be it, right? So going back to the other question as well.
Yeah, ERC20 based tokens
2.0
are going to go way up, I bet, especially DeFi. So like AV, synthetics, not land, but comp, Ren, Cosmos, Maker, these type of lending platforms and stuff like that. Wi-Fi, those ones are gonna probably blow up. I think.
Because I think that's
Uniswap,
really
Uni.
Give Bitcoin a run for its money. Something that nobody has really seen before.
Yeah, Bitcoin and Ethereum for sure.
I think once that happens, a lot more interest, a lot more awareness, a lot more people will start looking into Ethereum
For sure, Carlos.
as the replacement to Bitcoin. Now, it may not, flipping may not happen yet, but I think it's closer. And then following that, I'll probably say DeFi.
So Ethereum is only like 3% of the market cap or something like that. Is it 3%? It's something like that. And then is that what they're saying? I think they say that. I'm not
I
sure.
don't think DeFi is dead at all. If we go to DeFi pools, let's take a look. There's $12.3 billion in DeFi. So, I mean, traffic might be down, but it is not dead. I mean, DeFi.
Speaking of that, guys, right now, actually at 11 right now, starts the Futures Conference with AMP. Actually, maybe I'll just watch it with you guys. Why don't I just do that? Yeah. Let's do it. With Trevor, I think, from Flexa. Okay, let's go check it out. It starts like literally right now, and I signed up for it this morning. Flexa. The Futures Conference. I was going to end the stream pretty soon, but may as well just watch this first. Since I'm going to watch it anyways, you guys can watch it with me. See if we can get in there. Okay. Oh. Maybe. Oh, it started an hour ago and now they're... You can just watch it on YouTube. I didn't know it was on YouTube.
Data from global COVID clinical trials, so we could apply machine learning across all these clinical trials to discover, say, why did so few Africans die of COVID? Why did hydroxychloroquine seem...
AGI is probably a good buy this morning. It's down like 15%. Let's see. I'm going to watch it on this.
The corporate profit or national domination concerns. Completely insane.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree, and that needs to be one of the first issues that we need to address. The next generation needs to address. I don't know. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to address it in this generation, in our lifetime.
I'm more optimistic than you. I think we're going to get superhuman AI and the singularity within 10 to 20 years. So I think we need to address these things now. Yeah. Or that the super AI that launches the singularity may be just as selfish and small-minded as the powers that be guiding the world economy now. So we need to get democratic, beneficial motivations and be setting democratic, beneficial examples for the AIs as they advance, or we may be unpleasantly surprised with the way that the AGI system coming out of a government lab or a big company, we may be unpleasantly surprised by how well it reflects the values of that government or company.
Yeah, that would be quite terrifying. No, absolutely. And so talking about AIs, I mean, I'd have a lot of questions, and we can go off the tangent a lot in our conversation. But talking about AI and superhuman AI taking care of humans, how we can apply robotics in blockchain and AI in healthcare. When do you see that happening, and how is it happening if it's already happening?
Yeah, I mean, so robotics already plays a big role in healthcare. It's pretty diverse. I mean, you have robot arms doing surgery, in some cases better than people, and you have robots that can pick an elderly person out of bed and put them back in bed more safely than a person. There's a lot of dimensions. I mean, the dimension I've been involved in recently, as you know, is more on the social and emotional side. So we're working with Hanson Robotics, which was involved in the early days of founding SingularityNet, right? So we've gone back to collaborate with Hanson Robotics intensively again. We're developing a robot called Grace, which is a healthcare robot oriented initially toward elder care, nursing homes, senior living facilities, and so forth. So Grace will talk to elderly people, provide emotional and cognitive and social support, also be able to provide input to physicians in diagnosing some conditions, and provide practical support with helping them place calls, helping them schedule things, and understand what the doctor and nurse has told them, and so forth. So these medical robots, I think, can play a big value, because the healthcare sector is very badly understaffed. I mean, as well as now due to COVID, there being isolation because we're wanting to minimize human contact. So yeah, that's if folks look at awakening.health, you can see something about that project, but you're going to hear a lot more about that into 2021 as the Grace healthcare robots start rolling out of the factory. The cool thing with the SingularityNet, the AI platform we're building, right, is the medical data properly secured and anonymized from the Grace healthcare robots, the data from the Rejuve apps, and then financial and risk management data about, say, healthcare startups coming from Singularity DAO, and say clinical trial data analyzed by Singularity Studio. Like, all this stuff, it's there, it's properly secured with data privacy and sovereignty respected, but it's there in the same SingularityNet decentralized AI platform, and potentially, a network of AIs can be analyzing all this and forming a global picture of human health that's networked together with the global picture of economy and finance, with everything else that the AI is doing. So, I mean, you've really got the potential for the emergence of a sort of AI global brain, which is operating on democratic and decentralized principles, which is helping people to become wealthier and healthier, and helping people in all sorts of other ways.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's funny that in half an hour conversation we've only been able to touch only on few areas that we're working on with the SingularityNet Foundation, because we could have talked about how we are solving the problem of fake news thanks to decentralized AI, how we are decentralizing access to computing networks and computing power. It's really about
carbon sequestration, right? So we've been working with Arizona State University to use machine learning to estimate how much carbon is naturally sequestered under a farm or forest, so as to help sort of kickstart the carbon credit economy, so that we can all still breathe once the singularity comes around. Yeah, I mean that's the beauty and the sort of sobering, overwhelming thing with AI. I mean, just like computer technology, there's no sector of human or transhuman pursuit that it doesn't apply to.
Absolutely. So I think we have the next panelist ready to join. So I invite everyone to come and have a look at the singularitynet.io website to learn about all the projects the SingularityNet Foundation is involved in, and singularity.ai to know more about the Singularity DAO. Join our communities, come and talk to us. We are friendly, and thanks a lot for listening to us. And thanks to Tracy, who organized this event and invited us once more to talk at the Futurists Conference. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ben. It was a beautiful conversation.
Just wants to break down some more though.
Hey everybody, it's me, Zach Seward, managing editor at CoinDesk. Welcome. I was just jamming out to that music a little bit. So we got a nice little panel here. We got a panel of some DeFi heavyweights. We're gonna have a fun one with this one, talking about where decentralized finance is and how monetary systems are being reinvented in real time. So we got Tyler from Flexa, we got Robert from Compound, we got Itamar from Argent. This is a really nice panel, so I'm looking forward to chit-chatting with you guys in the next 45 minutes or so. So yeah, over to CoinDesk.
I'm gonna get some more coffee.
Pretty closely these last many months, especially over the summer. This summer of DeFi, this efflorescence of crazy DeFi stuff that was brought into the scene, in part at least, by Robert's project Compound Finance and the issuance of its Comp Governance token way back in June, which feels like many moons ago. So you know, we had the DeFi summer narrative that was easy to cover because it was just craziness, right? It was this frenzy. There was all these cool unaudited projects coming onto the market left and right, day in, day out. But you know, it's not summer anymore. It's November. It's the end of 2020, and you know, me and my colleagues have been trying to figure out where's the thread on DeFi right now. So I just want to start there because we have a really great lineup of folks. So I'm going to toss this one to Robert. I'm just curious about, you know, what is the state of the DeFi narrative here at the end of 2020, and what are you looking forward to over the next quarter or so?
So, you know, I'd like to start by saying, you know, thanks for having me. I think DeFi and crypto in general moves faster than most other technologies and most other markets. So it's funny when you ask, like, what's the state of, you know, DeFi just a couple months after a lot of commotion, where if you look at any other new technology, you don't think in terms of weeks, days, and months. I think the state of DeFi right now, though, it's a little bit like the dawn of the internet era in the late 90s, where everyone sees a new technology emerging, everyone sees that it's beginning to gain ground. We start to see early use cases that are becoming popular, but we don't know what it's going to become. And we don't know how big it's going to get, and we don't know where it's going to go. And all we know is that there's been a lot of excitement, a lot of going up, a lot of going down, a lot of speculation, and a lot of things tied to just the emergence of a new technology. I still think we're extremely early in DeFi, and I think the narrative right now is people are having to prove out what this is capable. What are the systems? How do they work? And what are we going to do with all of this new technology? You know, it's kind of like being in 1998 and the internet, in my opinion.
Got it. So I want to kick that to you, Tyler. So, you know, where are we in the cycle? Like, if it's the Gartner hype cycle, are we there at the plateau of usefulness yet, or are we yet to reach that plateau? And if so, on what part of the curve are we?
Oh, great question. To start too, I would echo almost everything Robert just said. And I think we're very, very early. So it's almost like we're not even on the chart in my longer view opinion. It's almost like you can zoom in and see a lot of the ups and downs and how crazy it is. But I think if you step a little bit back, my perspective is that even within DeFi, regardless of the price and sort of the craziness and you know, the summer of DeFi, there's a lot of really smart people investing lots of money and their time into building very robust protocols that the market is now deciding to use in a variety of different ways. You know, and it happens so quickly, to Robert's point, where it's weeks, it's months. And a perfect example is if you were to ask me last year and many other people and say, oh yeah, you know, exchanges make up the predominant form of crypto. Centralized exchanges are superior to DEXs. They will never work. No one wants to use DEXs. They're too small, and a variety of other components. Whereas now you see something like Uniswap, and lots of people use that. And the volume on these basic products is considerably higher. And I would even go so far as to say I use Uniswap a lot more because of how easy it is. There's no logging in. There's no funds that can never be stolen. I don't even have to 2FA into it. So it actually turned out to, it's not about having an order book and be able to actually do trades more quickly. It's about, it's safer and easier and faster, where I can trade an asset in a matter of seconds versus no matter how good a centralized exchange is, and this is not a knock to them by any means, what is it going to take, 5 or 10 minutes to go through all of the security protocols, actually verify what you're doing, get a withdrawal, and verify all of that? That's, I think, a perfect example of how quickly this can move to where everyone was, you know, decided DEXs will never work. They're not going to be fast enough. And that has nothing to do with the scalability components. The usability just changed so dramatically, and so now people are seeing this in a different light. And so I think we're only going to see magnitudes more of that, particularly in payments, my selfish focus. But I think that's all coming. And so we've got a lot to look forward to.
So, Itamar, you are the representative.
If you're an AMP holder, he's saying there's a lot to look forward to in payments. Okay, DeFi payments is coming. They are the #1 player in DeFi payments. Keep that in mind.
You know, you are a front end to a lot of these cool things that are happening in DeFi. So I'm really curious as to your take on where we stand in the DeFi narrative here at the end of 2020 as we chug through November.
So first, thanks for having me. And indeed, can only agree with Tyler and Robert about early in the cycle we are. It's a giant experiment, but I think we did prove some of the hypotheses. If I think of this about us, Argent, I think many people in crypto, the idea that the permissionless open system, financial system would drive way more innovation at a super fast pace. It's very hard to disagree with that. So it's experiment can fail, can be successful. There's been a ton of stuff, and every week it's something new. So I think we did validate that hypothesis, and for us it was that to be quite neutral, to be a gateway, and some amazing stuff would come out of that new system, which that was, I think, the first milestone. The second one, and that's in line with what Tyler said, I think we are proving that we can bring security and convenience. It's obviously what we are trying to do at Argent, but it is genuinely as easy as using most of the neobanks. We haven't solved yet all the problems, which we are showing it's possible, and we're on track to do it.
Robert, I want to ask you about the breakneck pace of this space. I think you've had some really interesting thoughts on Twitter and on other platforms about, you know, getting involved with projects that aren't your own as a way to sort of lead by example in terms of what projects ought to be doing so as not to leave a giant, you know, stain on the industry itself. You've gotten involved in some projects in sort of an advisory capacity with sort of that outlook in mind. So I wanted you to speak about, you know, this pace. Is the pace of DeFi innovation an asset or a weakness at this point? And how would you advise teams to build going forward?
That's a great question. So the reason why the pace is accelerating is because we're finally entering this era where we're starting to get open source libraries, essentially, and open source tools that people don't have to recreate the wheel every time. So in the first wave of DeFi, when Compound started building in 2017, you had to write everything from scratch. Every single line of code that went into the finished product, you had to write. Just like, in the late 90s, that's pretty much how you built a web technology. We saw in like the web stack massive improvements in the pace of innovation in the mid 2000s, as you didn't have to write everything from scratch. You didn't have to deploy your own servers. Things like AWS exponentially increased the pace of innovation because you didn't have to begin at square one and do everything from scratch, building a project. So the reason why innovation is accelerating in DeFi is because now you don't have to do everything from scratch, like Compound did in 2017. If you want to deploy, a governance system, you can just take Compound's governance tools and redeploy them for your own project. Almost every single project launching now uses a fork of Compound's governance token in order to hit the ground running more rapidly. So the reason why I like to get involved is because this collaboration is a rising tide that lifts all ships. As more and more things get proven out, built, and hardened and become reusable components for the community, everyone gets to move faster and go farther. And so I think this is a phenomenal time for DeFi. I think a lot of teams are seeing that, you don't have to begin at square one. You can work together, you can reuse other people's work, and you can build. I've always been encouraging of sort of the open source movement, but this is the first time in market where I think we're seeing open source just having a massive advantage over proprietary systems.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lovely definition of composability without alluding to Legos or the word composability. So credit to you for articulating that there. And some of the applications that you alluded to there are also interesting, right? Like people forking the governance mechanism in Compound for the gig economy, right? For workers, marketplaces, and various applications. So I think it is interesting when you think about some of the unanticipated things that get built on top of these base layers. So I wanted to kick that to Tyler, specifically in the payments realm. I think in traditional crypto, it's funny to say traditional crypto, but in traditional crypto, right, like payments are seen as less and less of an attractive use case. Bitcoin is rising as a digital gold, and people are jumping on that bandwagon left and right. So Tyler, from where you sit, again, specific to payments, and from where, from your vantage point, looking forward to as yet innovative things that build on these DeFi Lego blocks, how does DeFi change the payments picture? And what are you looking for to see if something is going to work in that aspect?
Great question. The short answer, I think, is going to radically transform it. So DeFi is going to just completely transform how payments work. But not in that you'll necessarily even see or that there'll be just all this complete disruption. It's just about efficiency and just making the system work a lot easier, more participants, lowering costs down, especially verification costs. So that's the real key element that DeFi or decentralized networks or crypto really helps solve. And that is almost irrelevant to something maybe like Bitcoin. Maybe people want to use Bitcoin either on the base layer or layer 2 and use that to transact and use it as currency. Maybe that will happen. It used to be, it's not as much now, and that is what it is. But right now, the core issue in these payment networks, if you take an asset and you want to use it and spend it at a merchant, let's say, or anywhere globally, the merchant has to verify that it's a real thing, and then they have to verify a receipt of the thing, and then they have to be able to exchange it in the currency they ultimately want. And those are steps in the existing system that don't really exist. And then you have third parties doing it at a very tremendous cost. So when you swipe your credit card or your debit card, there's usually a logo on it of some association or some network that's basically vouching for the security and the ultimate reimbursement of your payment. And the merchants pay a lot of money for that. So when it gets swiped, they say, hey, it's got a Visa logo on it. I will now be paid. This will ultimately work. I'm going to get dollars, euros, yen, whatever it is in my bank account, and now this thing works. But the third parties all involved in that have to verify the funds. They have to move the funds. And that's extremely expensive. And in these decentralized networks, you can now independently verify the provenance of funds, that they've been exchanged. You can now exchange them through DeFi protocols really easily or other exchanges. It actually just starts wiping out the cost. So basically the assurance and verification costs in this now payment flow can be driven down to zero. And that's maybe 90% of the cost in the existing system. So you don't even have to remove any players. You don't have to disrupt or change around how everything works. Literally just by doing that, basically decentralizing the risk in a transaction, cost payments to very, very low is what they were. So that's the thing that I see. And whether it's Bitcoin where it's happening, whether it's something like Hyperledger or XRP where that's happening, or it's ERC20 tokens, or it's new chains, or whatever those assets look like, whether it's something like Libra, it's all the same premise that the assets can be verified independently or not using one centralized system where all the costs and all the fraud and the inefficiencies are. So that's sort of the theme, and that's why we couldn't be more bullish at Flexa and others that I've talked to about what this looks like very, very soon, almost irrespective to whatever assets are getting used, because it will happen. We've seen a lot of this happening, and this is also, you know, products like Itamar and Argent, right? What they've been able to do and abstract a lot of this from users, making it easier for them to interact with it. They don't have to know that it's crypto, it just needs to work for them. And so we see that again. That's a complete inevitability in my opinion.
Yeah, I think, Itamar, you brought up the idea or the specter of neobanks, and maybe these DeFi apps sort of become as simple and as embraceable as a neobank. What do you think about, what messaging do you think we're not hearing that is impeding folks from embracing some of these? I mean, they're simple, they're easy, they look sexy, they're relatively simple to use. And yet, you know, this is still a fairly small community of users. So I'm curious, when you look at neobanks as the North Star, what messaging do we need as a sector to get to that point?
So I don't think it's a messaging issue yet. This will come into play, but I think we need to provide the real value, the real use case. Speculation and high reward investment, it's one part of it, it's one little circle, and we'll need to expand that circle. I see it like when Apple launched the iPhone, all the building blocks were there, everything was there, but 2-3 years before, you just couldn't do it just right. And we are getting these building blocks. I think we hold off from implementing Flexa for a while. The costs were too high, and we are just getting there. I think 2021 is probably your year, Tyler, but the cost is getting down. We'll be able to transact at very low cost, and we'll be able to create these use cases. What we saw, I think cost is probably one of the issues right now in crypto. Obviously, we've talked a lot about gas.
He says 2021 is your year because Flexa is going to enable crypto payments. People really, I don't think they're ready to pay with crypto. They're ready to hold it, right?
We saw when Argent was still subsidizing that if you make it frictionless and cheap, usage goes through the roof. We had literally 100% of our users were active users and transacting every day. And of course, it wasn't sustainable from a gas perspective, but we knew that if the cost was low, the friction was low, then we could create high usage. And we'll be there very, very soon, early next year, on pushing back this cost to very low level.
Oh man, remember this summer when gas prices were just through the roof, and that was like everyone. It was the only thing that people were talking about. It was like, I cannot send $5 without paying $20 in fees. So Robert, I think from where you sit, I'm also curious about this question, right?
It was crazy.
How do you what's the pitch to someone? What's the pitch to someone who's crypto curious? Here's an app. Here's what almost amounts to a savings account that gives you much more interest. What are you finding that resonates with folks when it comes to getting people to try it out?
So this is going to be my completely counterintuitive answer. I actually don't. I don't think there should be a pitch to consumers about what is DeFi. And the reason is we're at the Futurist conference. I think eventually users won't need to know or won't need to care. No one has to pitch TCP/IP to users. No one cares, right? They don't need to care. They don't need to know. In a lot of ways, this is back-end infrastructure to enable new products and better services to work. I don't have to pitch someone on the internet right? But Uber can go out and build the world's best, ride sharing experience, right? It doesn't matter how it works in the back end. So I actually say the opposite. I don't think you have to pitch people on DeFi. I think eventually the products and services will emerge that are just 15 times better than the products and services today for money, for payments, for investments, for art, for all of these amazing things. And so I think the better pitch is to developers to say, hey,
come over here.
Build that was completely impossible just like 2 years ago.
Developers are flocking to DeFi right now.
What can you build that you couldn't build 2 years ago, Robert?
Almost anything. So, I mean, like
crazy. It's so
like you can fundamentally program money, right, and program assets in ways that were just completely off limits.
Because it's decentralized.
Fintech innovates in very small improvements, right? Like, when you look at these fintech startups in traditional financial markets that are backed with hundreds of millions of dollars in capital, billions of dollars in capital, they're making very small improvements on the way that finance and business is conducted. Very small improvements. When you look at this market, you can make radical step function improvements with very small amounts of capital. And the reason is you don't have to spend years negotiating for the right to make a change to the way things work. And
that's it's open source.
Such a dichotomy that I hope sells itself.
People have power now.
You can basically step into this market and be able to program assets and wealth and opportunity in ways that have never been available to developers before.
Got it. So Tyler, I want to kick this to you. Like for, whether it was over the summer or whether it was in recent weeks, what was like the example from this latest frenzy that you felt was like the poster child of what DeFi can do? And what was like the don't do that? What was the goofus and gallant of DeFi summer? That's my question to you. What is an exemplary instance of something that represented the positive change that could come with DeFi, and what was goofus?
One, so I will answer that. I wanted to at least tack on really quick to what Robert was just talking about, where like, what can you build? And I think it's just so spot on, this whole pitch to developers as opposed to the consumer side. A great example that fits with literally everyone on this panel would be just imagine an app where you can store your dollars, let's say, and you can spend and use that app and use your dollars at any merchant in the world. And behind the scenes, you have something like Compound that can pay you 1-2% interest without you even necessarily having to do anything. That's literally 10 to 20 times any sort of interest rate you're getting from a bank right now. And people will figure this out. Like everyone in this ecosystem are understanding this, and it's starting to get built very, very quickly where, wow, I can use this debit card or I can use this piece of plastic or do these things, but I could literally just use this app instead. And I'm earning interest on all the money that I have, and it just happens and it works. I think that starts to become so overwhelmingly compelling to consumers. They don't need to know how it works. They don't even know what's behind the scenes. They can find it. Actually, that's one of the greatest things about DeFi. You can audit everything. You can see all of it. You can actually completely understand how it all works. But the reality is it's going to be a great tool for them that they can use, and it's going to be much better than what the current system is. So now I guess the question of, man, what was great and what was concerning? It's really hard. I would say a little bit of what we talked about when we saw, I think, some of the yield farming in general, and we saw kind of the LP vampire platforms was super interesting because it shows that how quickly you can build a community and how quickly you can build a product when people are already in, essentially. They have these LP tokens, they understand how this works, and that was just mind-boggling that you had a large platform like Uniswap and something like 95% up to 100% of liquidity in certain pairs was all migrated over to another platform. Like, that's amazing in terms of how quickly you could grow something. Similar to what Robert was mentioning, if you build on top of these other protocols, these other kind of safe software, robust software, now you can do the same thing almost with business models or liquidity. That gets, I think that's almost kind of both answers together, is that was completely insane and almost maybe it's going to last really well, maybe it won't. People didn't expect it, but I also thought it demonstrated the positives this is how kind of malleable this is, and how you can grow big communities, grow other projects, a lot of other potential, and really fast. No one saw that coming. I mean, that was in a matter of, what, 2 weeks? All in? I mean, that's completely crazy that was able to happen so quickly.
Yeah, Uniswap, SushiSwap is just a great story all around. Itamar, I want to do this too. Yeah, so like, we're coming out of a frenetic summer. Let's look back a little bit. Crypto doesn't look back enough. I know we're at the Futurist Conference and we'll get forward looking again, but look back on the last 3 months. What was the craziest thing that you witnessed in the last 3 months? Take that for the good and the bad. What was crazy in that it represented what this can do, and what was crazy in that it represented some shortcomings in the space?
BitMEX, that was crazy.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think I still have PTSD from gas at 500 and funding our infrastructure constantly. I think the interesting one actually for me was some big project moving to decentralized governance. It started, from my personal perspective, really with Compound, and then we saw Uniswap, but then you saw project like Yearn. So I thought that was quite interesting because some were like some teams that I knew that were in an office pre-COVID, and suddenly they give away a lot of power. So I think that's a fascinating experiment. I think we're just at the very beginning, but I think, and having been able ourselves to vote in some of these governance votes was very interesting. And so that for us, really, the idea that suddenly a project like ours have skin in the game with many of these projects, I think is quite interesting. The more goofy part, I think it's like people waking up on Twitter and blasting at the Fed, printing money, and then in the afternoon they release their yield farming token and are basically printing money all the time, and then scam exit, etc. I think there was maybe too much too fast. Once you get excited, you see these prices exploding, then I think sometimes we ask ourselves, we made it too easy to users, too easy to do things. And suddenly in some way the friction and the complexity protects less savvy users because it's too complex for them. If you make it too easy, we suddenly open the door to users who are probably not ready for that.
Got it. When I think of June and I think of Compound doing what you said, Itamar, ceding some of its power to its user base, right? I sort of had this picture in my mind of Robert with like the keys to the castle, and he's just like, toss the keys, here's keys, you guys do it. So I want to give this to Robert because I do want to pick his brain a little bit about it. Robert, what's your take on decentralized governance right now? Do you think it's how far off are we from it working to its capacity?
That's a great question. So I think we're still early in the process of as a community learning the pros, the cons, the why and the why nots. So with Compound specifically, there was really two goals in mind. One was to make it where anyone could upgrade this protocol, this market, not just the Compound Labs team, the original developers of it. So that was a very key goal. We wanted a process by which development, instead of being bottlenecked by one team, could be opened up to the whole community. And that's happened ever since we, handed off the keys. We've seen a number of different individuals and teams begin to make upgrades to this protocol. That's the purest spirit of decentralization there is, but I also think a core advantage, because if you have 100 teams able to work on improving a system instead of one, you're going to get a more powerful end result. So that was one of the very specific design decisions. And the second was making it such that one person or team couldn't mess it up for everybody. So in the days of yore, before we took the keys and handed them off, this would never happen, but there was a chance that our whole team could have gotten wiped out in a meteor coming down from outer space and annihilating San Francisco, and there's no one there that is left, right? And that would have been a disaster. And by decentralizing, we removed that risk of the meteor from ruining the protocol. Now, if a meteor wipes out our entire team, no one will even notice, right? And that's extremely powerful for building permanence and robustness. And it doesn't mean that by decentralizing you're getting other like extrinsic benefits, which there are potentially like dozens of them, but like that was the intent of Compound's governance process, and we've seen that come to fruition, both the community making upgrades and us not really being necessary anymore. But I think that that's like very custom in terms of its goals with the protocol in the market that exists. That solution will not work for other teams. It will not work for other protocols. It will not work for other systems. And I think that there's a misunderstanding where you're like, oh, let's just do what Compound did. That's going to work. There's this phrase, cargo cult science, that I think this applies to extremely specifically. And I don't encourage other teams to like copy paste this as a solution, because you're going to get really bad results. So I think like long term, teams are going to have to figure out how to decentralize their own project in a way that's very specific and like customized to like what that product or project even is. And they're going to get an even better outcome than if they just try to follow in like our specific.
That's what Flex is doing.
And so I think it's early. I think like it's kind of like saying, well, like, how do you make, resilient software? How do you make resilient, DeFi applications? It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Yeah, it is like
it's organic.
Of like, building blocks, right? Like there's a foundation, but often you have to divert from what that foundation offers. I want to go to Itamar on this one too, because I mean, I'm very curious about your perspectives on DeFi governance specifically and some of the things that we've seen on Uniswap and elsewhere. What do you think like is the state of governance right now? I mean, governance as a word can be a little bit dry, but I really do think that there's some fascinating concepts in the idea of these communities governing themselves. So, like from where you sit, what are the governance issues that a person like me who's covering the industry should be watching, and where do you think we are like as it relates to decentralized governance and its potential?
So, I was probably a decentralized governance skeptic, I would say, slightly the skeptic part, and I start to form an opinion that there is a stage of a company where it might make sense or not. So I'm a strong believer that if you need a rocket ship to be extremely agile, extremely fast, you need 1, 2, 3 people that own the vision and just push for it. And that decentralizing the governance will make you mitosify a bit this protocol, make you less agile, less fast in terms of moving, in terms of direction, but will make you extremely resilient. And so once you reach that stage where you are much bigger, Compound was already, in terms of TVL, dog value was massive when you started that, and the same with Uniswap. And maybe that's the right time, and then you are much more resilient. I'm not yet convinced that having the community govern will make you move faster. It's too, on one hand, you don't have the person leading with the vision, but on the other hand, you have much more diversity of opinion, and people might come out of nowhere in the world with some amazing idea that you would never have. So I still mixed feeling there. The way we see our role at Argent is we think governance should be simplified. Right now, it's really a few people at the top that participate in governance. It takes a lot of time. So to be able to judge, it's worse than an election. I think most people are clueless when they go and vote. And yeah, it's the right timing to discuss that, obviously. But it's way worse with governance. So we have delegation for Uniswap and Compound, our governance, and we have to skip some of those votes because for some of them we feel we would need a week to really dive into it. So it's how do we make it more accessible to our users, retail users? It could just be signal voting, delegating, or really active part of governance. So that's an area I would want to see at some point in Argent, being able to be notified by the DApp that there is a governance vote, you hold the token and you vote for it. That's how we think we can help.
Tyler, do you think this idea of like protocol politicians is real, and do you think we'll see more of it going forward, where like you have people who are arguing on behalf of one constituency over the other? Are we going to see the polarization of the DeFi governance world? What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's inevitable, right? I'm a believer that humans don't change ever. In the thousands of years that we have existed, we're exactly the same. Technology just allows us to do certain things that we enjoy doing, and we can do that faster, better, cheaper. But the core of what makes us human and how we interact with other things, I think, remains generally unchanged. So I think that's totally inevitable. And I will say, in both these cases that got mentioned, give it really appreciation of what Compound has done, which I think gets overlooked a lot and potentially even criticized. And it's really frustrating to me around their governance token itself. You see a lot of this now, these other, DeFi communities, protocols otherwise, decentralize all the things. We're going to get this super fair launch. We're going to give it to all of our users. We're going to get all these tokens and all of these people. There's no VCs. There's no founders. There's all of this. I personally, I don't want it to be sounding controversial, but I completely disagree with that mentality. Not that an end state around decentralized ownership and governance is absolutely fantastic. I just don't think it's a 0 to 1. And that people now can release something out to the world, and then automatically there's a lot of people that will actually care enough to do something about it. I just haven't seen the evidence of that, and I don't think it's in humanity's interest to ever do those things. And so you see startups being very successful with small groups of founders that then get bigger, they raise VC capital, they keep getting bigger and bigger. I think you see this, especially something like with Compound. They've already now authorized the majority of all of their tokens going to the very user of their protocol. And they're also doing it in a very strategic and planned out approach. They could have just given all the tokens away to all of the users on day one and said, now this is good, everything will go, you guys can take it from here. And that's not going to give them the best outcome. It might have been the best financial one, right? Maybe they would want to do something like that, but they didn't. They put this path to saying, we're going to ease our way into getting the right people behind our governance that actually care and have skin in the game and will develop it. Just exactly, you see these lists of who are voting on Compound. You see industry players. You see people that care about the health of where this will be going in the future. And that's extremely powerful. And I think it's the only way you want to approach something like this. And so even with Flexo, we're doing the same in that some parts of our business we won't be able to decentralize, and that it's working with these closed systems that merchants have and the network on that side. But the other side, we're looking to open as wide as absolutely possible. We want it to be permissionless. We want people to be able to build on top of it. And that's been our goal from day one. But you can't just do it on day one, because then you get, especially in crypto, speculators. People don't care about the long-term health of your project. They're not actually going to be building it. They're there just for an immediate financial outcome. That's not going to get anyone anywhere. You get a perfect example is you see, not to promote too much, but like Ethereum, right? Ethereum 2.0. They now have this initial Genesis contract, essentially, where people have to stake a lot of Ether into this contract for a long amount of time, and it's going to be sitting there. The opportunity cost of Ether right now is pretty high. So the people that are actually funding that and putting tokens in that, getting that size, those are people that are committed to the health of that project, that want to grow that project, that you get enough of those people rallying around something, man, that's powerful. And I think if you build systems like that, you're truly harnessing the decentralized network power of getting lots and lots of people financially committed, emotionally committed to make something really good and participate in it, and also permissionlessly be able to participate, right? Anyone can contribute to that Ethereum contract, right? These are new kind of paradigms that are being changed. They're just so exciting to us of what we're building, because you couldn't do this 10 years ago. You couldn't even do it really 3 or 5 years ago. So anyone can participate, and you can get people that are super motivated to be a part of something and also share in the financial success. That's really exciting. And so I think that approaching it the right way, easing into it with that kind of guiding light, is going to be really powerful in the next couple of years.
Got it. Robert, this one's for you. It's a personal story. Over the summer, I had a bone to grind, an axe to pick, a bone to grind, I don't know. I had some beef with the word governance token, because more often than not, these governance tokens were merely the carrot at the end of the stick, like the sweetener. More than anything, they seem to be a growth token. So I wanted to pose to you, I mean, you didn't invent governance token. Governance token obviously existed before Comp. But I wanted to ask you if you wanted to make a defense of the term governance token, or if you wanted to validate my hunch that these are merely growth tokens that incentivize participation for some of the less altruistic impulses that Tyler mentioned about getting fast money and quick, which is a crypto specialty.
Yeah, so when we decided to distribute the token directly to users for free, that was actually a crazy notion. So like, you know, it's hard to go back in time, but like, I remember like, you know, when we came up with this plan, everyone was like, wow, that's crazy. Like even the idea of being like, we're going to get tokens users for free was like crazy, right? Now it's like, that's not crazy at all. Like everyone does that. That's like,
well, yeah, I mean, Uni blew you guys out of the water in terms of free tokens, absolutely.
Yeah, and like teams are improving upon that model. But at the time, it was new and it was crazy and we had no idea what to expect. We didn't think of it as like a growth level. We saw it as like, what's the responsible way to go from like a company of people managing a protocol to a slightly larger audience of like knowledgeable, like highly incentivized like stakeholders managing the protocol to everyone managing the protocol, right? And like for us, we're like, all right, well, like do it in waves. Like go from like a team doing it to like, you know, token holders, but privately doing it. There was 3 months before we launched our token to the public that the protocol was managed through on-chain governance, but with a restricted list of token holders.
That's why I'm excited about Wise Token. Check out the link down in the description.
To the public manage it in an increasing amount. And it was really just a way of like trying to get like a increasing amount of governance. And we didn't think about it as like a growth lever. We thought about it as like a progressive decentralization structure. And like everything we did was like in the context of progressive decentralization. Now, most of the teams today are not doing that. They're not thinking about it in terms of progressive decentralization. They're thinking about it in terms of like, we have a token, hooray. And in that sense, it's not for governance. It's, you know, governance is an afterthought. It's an explanation or justification. It's like, hey, let's get liquidity and let's, you know, ride off into the sunset and let's leave others to govern this thing. And that's the justification. So I think they're very different things. I think if you approach it from the perspective of like very deliberate and cautious progressive decentralization, then the token is a governance token. And if you approach it from, you know, day zero, it's just yield farming before there's product. It's not a governance token. There are products today that are doing yield farming and distributing a governance token, and they haven't even launched the protocol. They haven't launched the product. It's nonsense. It's like,
rug pull.
It's disgusting, right? That's not a governance token. If there's not a protocol there to govern,
A lot of rug pulls
it's
like
just
that.
like someone's scheme to get rich quick.
I love this. That made my heart swell. I'm such a dork. Anyway, that was good stuff. Thank you for getting heated about that. I appreciate the specificity of language. A call for specificity in language is always a good way to impress that. Itamar, I want to go to the community that you represent, right? These users who are using Argent. Like,
by the way, I downloaded Argent like 2 weeks ago, and I used it to complete a transaction. Because I heard that they're going to do another Uniswap drop, and they people who used Argent were going to be able to receive it. Not the original people who used Uniswap, but people who used other decentralized exchanges and wallets and stuff. I'm not sure if I beat it or not. I don't know if they're still doing that or not. But I heard there's going to be another little drop, but not for like the majority of people. But only people who used like Argent, and there's a few other exchanges.
Portals, all these cool products, or all these cool protocols. What is it that you hear from folks about what is wanted? What is user demand tell you about where DeFi may be headed?
So in our case, I would say it's quite polarized because we do two things. We have curated DeFi product within Argent. It's natively integrated, one tap to get it, it's easy. And we have to be very careful into what we get there. And then we have an open gateway to Wallet Connect. You can get to anything. You don't have to ask permission. It's not curated, and then you can take all the risk. And so we do see really two large pool of users. There are those who want a relatively safe way to earn yield. These are the more retail balance users, and they want. So it started with Compound for us really a year and a half ago. That's what made us. The native integration in Compound, Argent started really there. And then we grew a bit. I think now liquidity pools, so providing liquidity to Uniswap starts to go into this category. It's a bit more complex, but still it's there. And I think I think that's an interesting use case. So these are users who would leave their assets there for months, maybe years. They don't make too many movement, and it's really their savings. Then you have really the crazy. Then you have those who experiment everything. The minute the contract is live, they might have a quick look, and it's fine, but it's really another audience, and we want Argent to be open. They can do what they want, but then we need to be careful when we onboard new people to that space into what we provide to them. So to answer your questions, I think if there is the start of a demand for more mature risk balance products, but we are still into the high reward category. You don't come in DeFi for 2%. You come in DeFi for a good double digits. The same way that you go in the stock market for those kind of rewards.
Got it. So I'm hearing that the let's call it the degen community is bigger than the I would like a higher savings interest rate community at this point. Is that a fair characterization?
So it changed. Argent was all about small, medium users. And then two things happened. One, we got more battle-tested, bigger audits. We got Samsung reviewing the contract, and suddenly we got users moving with $1 million, $2 million, I think $6-8 million in one wallet because they replaced the hardware wallet with Argent, because in some way we have a different security model that in many ways it's more powerful. And that's relatively new. It took a lot of time. And at the same time, so we grew towards these bigger wallets, and at the same time, gas increase made the smaller, for the smaller wallets, it makes the use case much less relevant. It's not anymore relevant to earn 5%, even 10% on $100 with the current gas. And that's something, but that's still our mission, and our goal is to serve those users, and that's where our work on layer 2 will solve this problem. So I would say our heart is still with the non-degen, but right now we attract more bigger whales because of the market conditions.
All right, music. So we've got to get to this quick, guys. This is the future prediction portion of the event. We have 37 seconds and counting.
Hurry up.
What will the world look like by the 2021 Futurist Conference? Tyler, go first.
Man, it's impossible to really know. Think about a year before, right? Everything that we're working on right now and how new it all is, it's completely new. We never would have been able to expect it. But from my perspective, payments and digital assets getting used, as I mentioned before, I think is so inevitable, and we're just going to see that eat the world very, very quickly.
Okay. Itamar, 2021, what's it going to look like?
DeFi, we'll have DeFi on layer 2. Some DeFi on layer 2. Done.
And Robert, last but certainly not least, 2021 prediction from you.
Everybody's using Argent and using Fleckle.
and reading CoinDesk.com religiously.
And reading CoinDesk.com.
Yes. All right. Fantastic. Thanks so much, guys. Way to land the plane. We'll talk soon, I hope. Bye.
Oh, Wendy O is up. She's cool. I've talked to her a few times. She's really cool. All right, well, that was, that was okay. It was that one was kind of boring, but you have to be like on the inside, really into DeFi to really kind of know what they're talking about. But yeah, it's true. It's going to be bigger than anyone knows, AMP. I'm telling you, I love AMP. I'm stoked. I'm stoked for Flexa. I just wanted, before I ended the live stream, I kind of just wanted to scroll through CoinDesk, and the funny thing is that there's a few articles here that looks like they're starting to FUD Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they do it. They do it when they know something's gonna drop. I don't know. That's kind of. Let me see. Let's take a look at the market real quick. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, because Bitcoin was rising quickly. Where's my Brave? Okay. Bitcoin was going up towards 16K again. Let's take a look. Ethereum's looking like it's going to blast off. So I don't know why they're flooding the market right now. Bitcoin dominance dropping. Oh yeah, it's high. Yeah. We got to take a look at that real quick though. Let's take a look. It's better off, better on TradingView actually. Okay, I haven't looked at this for a few days, but it looks like it really, really respected that bull pennant it was creating. Like really respected it to the very, very end. And then you saw some bullish volume come in. You saw some bullish price action come in, and now it's tapping the past resistance. Now it's support. Looks like it's tapping the top of it. All right. Tapped it, it's going up again. It might consolidate. It might consolidate for a little while, maybe a few days. Might even come crashing down. It is kind of like, well, no. I was going to say it's a double top, but no, it already went above earlier this month's top. So to me, it's looking pretty darn good, And it's still respecting that head pattern that I was drawing. I think it's going to keep going and budge up against it and then kind of come back down. And it's still respecting this big, long trend line. Wait, how did that move? How did that move? How did this move? Oh. Okay. Yeah. This trend line. Okay, anyway, so I mean, there's just not a lot of resistance, It's really at a nice spot to be in bullish, and I'm excited for alts. That's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for alts because once it consolidates, once it remains more steady, and then also too, if it goes above, like, if it keeps going up, alts are going to fly, I think. And usually, when Bitcoin makes big moves up, people are selling their alts into Bitcoin, so Bitcoin goes, alts kind of go down a little, and then as soon as Bitcoin kind of consolidates for a few days and remains steady, that's when alts start flying. I thought I had a different trend line. Let's see what we could do. If you pull it like that, I thought that's what I had it at. So, let's see. Yeah, something like that. And then, I think it even broke out of the channel that I was in, the upwards channel. Oh, there was one. Oh, yeah. So we can actually, I'm going to take that away, the one I just created. Yeah, oh yeah, it broke out. I mean, it's just so bullish right now because everyone's getting in. It's organically bullish. That's what it is. It's organic. People are really buying. People are buying it, And big hedge funds and institutions are starting to get into it. Big tech is going to start getting into it. It's just all coming, it's all happening. It's funny because when we were saying it, like, oh, this is going to happen. It's going to be huge. It's massive. That was like, oh, it's a little off in the future, but now it's here. It's actually happening, and it's really going to start going pretty soon, I think. There might be another big dip, but I think there will be one more big dip, and that's the opportunity of a lifetime. Well, I mean, down here, you know, I mean, honestly, you know, the opportunity was down here. You know, you want to talk about opportunities, but there's going to be like one more opportunity for the next 2 years probably that will be a good buy. I mean, you don't see that many green candles without a dip. You just don't see it very often. But it did break from a falling wedge. I mean, a rising wedge. It actually broke. It was a rising channel, actually. If we can now I zoomed out, I can actually draw this correctly. It was a rising channel. Yeah, it was a rising channel, and it broke to the upside because of all the bullishness. Now the thing is, though, look, you want to take a look at this too. Volume's starting to go down, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to crash anytime soon. The buying pressure is just more large buys, you know. So we can kind of, and this is all a result of this falling pressure here, this falling sell pressure right here. Same thing. You see? And then a green candle broke through it. You know, you had that red downtrend in the volume, the downtrend in price. Then you had basically a green candle come up and say, all right, we're taking over again. This is the start. And we're right at the start of another one in as far as alts. Bitcoin's been doing good this last month. That's great, because next month alts are going to go insane. Just like back in right over here. Back in April, that's when it really started taking off. This was the beginning of the bull market, and it's been up ever since. It's gonna come back down probably, and then go up even more on a parabolic trend. Let's go check out CoinDesk again. All right, so Ray Dalio sees, and he's one of the richest. He is the biggest investment hedge fund in the world. He's one of the richest people in the world. He's a great guy too. I mean, when he does his speeches and stuff, when he does presentations, you gotta listen to what he's saying. Like he really explains things well. He says there's 3 main problems with Bitcoin and other cryptos that will limit their future. Governments will outlaw them should they start to become material. A lack of venues that will accept cryptocurrencies for purchase. Well, this is what Flexa solves. Can't take my Bitcoin yet and buy things easily. Not yet, but I mean, it's coming. After the Great Reset, you know, they're going to put everything on a supply chain blockchain. Bitcoin and other cryptos are too volatile to be considered ineffective. Now, that is true, but that's where stablecoins come in. If Bitcoin or other cryptos become material, they'll use whatever teeth they have to enforce it. I don't think digital currencies will succeed in the way people hope they would. Yeah, you know, I think this whole DeFi thing is going to go, and I think sometime next year will be more of like the XRP payments, like the big boys, you know? Those will kind of come out. This is for the people, this DeFi movement. This is for experimentation, you know? People to make some money, you know? And that's why they haven't put regulations out yet. They're letting smart people make money, you know? That's why they're holding back on regulations. It's the Wild West, you know? They're letting people do their thing, you know? Get some money first before they start outlawing things and putting regulations on things. But anyways, now he's super rich, so of course he's not going to be risky. If you're young and you don't have a lot of money, like, may as well try it out. You know what's coming, the big crash and all that. If you're smart, if you know, you know. December rise towards 20K. So consolidation of Bitcoin should help us to start seeing alts popping off one by one here and there, especially starting with Ethereum. Bitcoin's consolidating in that 15,000 area. It's been doing it for the last week or so. It's just consolidating. Now once Bitcoin goes down, if it doesn't go past 16,000, it could actually. It'll probably come down and still it'll get to that support like 15.5 or 15.4 or whatever that is. Then the alts will feel comfortable. People will feel comfortable buying alts up. All right, let's see if there's anything else interesting on CoinDesk. So there's an unannounced hard fork. What? Seems like FUD to me. Oh, that's why CZ was saying funds are Seifu this morning. I was wondering what happened. He said funds are Seifu. That usually means the exchange went down for a little while. Anyway, this is probably just, some kind of FUD. That's what happens. Probably to shake people out. CoinDesk, I mean, they're like the Fed, of the news sites. They're like the Illuminati of the news sites, basically, I know that's crazy thinking. So don't take me seriously, but I just say stupid things like that sometimes. Bitcoin hash rate rebellions on Asian miners. Flash loans aren't a problem. Centralized price oracles are. That sounds like Chainlink. Price oracles, or like Coinbase or something, like Flash loans. I think Av is like the creator of Flash loans. Like they made it popular. I'm not sure. All right, so Ethereum heavyweights launch liquid stake loans to ease ETH.2.0 2.0 lockup, discovering Bitcoin through the End SARS movement, featuring ELA when the Nigerian government shut down End SARS, Bitcoin and crypto. First mover, Bitcoin pause, Ethereum snafu. 1,000% returns put focus on exchange tokens. I'm going to see if they talk about Uniswap here, hopefully. FTT, that's been up in the ranks for a little while now. Oh, TrueUSD should do well too. I think that'll do well. Watch out for scammers, guys. They're all over the place. Don't click links. Don't believe people, when they say they're someone or, they're at the head of a company, like whatever, and then they need you to send them some Ethereum or something. Like, don't ever do that. Like, don't ever do that. And be careful. Don't even give your emails out. Don't give things out to people, okay? Unless you really know them, Yeah, be careful. Be safe-oo. All right, I'm going to get going, guys. I'm going to eat some lunch, and then I will talk to you guys later. All right, hopefully you had fun during this live stream. I want to see let's see what they're saying real quick.
What he's calling Bitcoin today is even trying to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. The project was hijacked using a bunch of censorship, literally deleting anybody's post or banning anybody that had a different opinion. And then the Bitcoin people hate the Bitcoin Cash people because they see Bitcoin Cash as a threat to their number go up with Bitcoin. And if they could convince everybody to only buy Bitcoin and never buy any Ethereum or any Bitcoin Cash or Monero or Zcash or anything else out there, then the Bitcoin price would be even higher than it is today. So all of the Bitcoin maximalists are furious with the Bitcoin Cash people because they see them as
Bitcoin Cash is highly underrated. It's probably going to blow.
threat to the number go up meme of Bitcoin. And so both sides are really upset with each other. But what I would like to see happen is both sides just build the best tools that they possibly can. I wish Lightning Network and these layer 2 solutions for Bitcoin good luck, but it's very clear what's winding up happening is that people are winding up using custodial solutions like the Cash App and these other, Robinhood and now PayPal. Like, you don't have your private keys with any of those. And if it's not your keys, it's not your coins. And that's why I'm a much bigger fan of things like blockchain.com or bitcoin.com, where the users have their own keys themselves, and nobody in the entire world can freeze those users' accounts. Nobody can block them from sending or receiving their payments. When you have cheap on-chain fees, you can literally send cryptocurrency right over a live stream in a permissionless way. Again, the first person that scans that gets their 20 Eastern Caribbean dollars of Bitcoin Cash, just like that. That's not possible with Bitcoin, right? The fees are too high, so you can't do that anymore. And,
go ahead, scan it. see what happens. See if you can get it.
There's not just one cryptocurrency. There's thousands of them at this point, and it's a Darwinian evolution of cryptocurrency.
Darwinian
evolution of centralized exchanges.
Yeah.
It's a Darwinian evolution
survival of the fittest.
And these decentralized exchanges. This is great for all of humankind, and maybe that's the best thing that came out of the civil war that went on within Bitcoin. Suddenly now thousands of these different altcoins have people paying attention to them that previously otherwise, if Bitcoin had been allowed to scale on chain, everybody would have just been focused on Bitcoin. And then you'd have a bit more fragility because everybody's eggs would be in that one proverbial Bitcoin basket. Whereas now you can have Bitcoin, you can have Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Dash, Monero, take your pick. There's thousands and thousands of them out there at this point. Don't put all your eggs in Bitcoin, and don't put all your eggs in a single altcoin either. It's good advice for everybody.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know who would do that.
I agree with that. My portfolio is very diverse. Of course, it's mostly comprised of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I do have a tiny bit of Bitcoin Cash. But me personally, I feel that competition is good for the industry. I am not a maximalist. I'm more of a shitcoiner. That's my favorite term for it. But because it's just fun. I'm very fun. I'm very playful. But I think that, because I'm an entrepreneur myself, and I think that we need competition. And I honestly think without Bitcoin Cash, I think the creation of Bitcoin Cash might have, kind of pushed Bitcoin maximalists to really say, hey, we need to do something to improve. And so it essentially kind of forced them to start to create these other solutions. Some work well, some they are still working on. But altcoins are very important to the ecosystem. And yes, a lot will die. Yes, of course, Roger, what you said, you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. That's never smart. You want to have a very diversified portfolio. Me personally, I've got a diversified portfolio outside of crypto. I've got cash. I've got, a home that I'm in the process of selling. So it's important to diversify. But with crypto, yes, I do think that I think Bitcoin will be kind of more of the gold standard for people, that people feel safe kind of keeping their money in. But it is very hard to send payments for Bitcoin. Sometimes it can be very expensive.
Look at XRP though, or Stellar.
With Ethereum right now, with all of the Uniswap.
Even Ethereum takes a big
really high fees for Ethereum. To me, it's kind of it's a little bit overwhelming at times. But as far as Bitcoin Cash and SLP, do you
wait till regulations
with the SLP technology with Bitcoin Cash?
Yeah, you can already make it NFT tokens right now today. You can do fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens. You can do everything right over there. And if you're a software developer, head on over to developer.bitcoin.com or slp.cash are great websites to get started. And a really great aspect of it too is the Bitcoin Cash blockchain can handle more transactions than all of Bitcoin and all of Ethereum combined every single day. So it's not any sort of problem at all. Bitcoin Cash can literally scale to be money for the entire world and do tokens for the entire world there as well. And if you don't believe me, I invite you to go on over to archive.org. You can see the Internet Archive over there, and go and look at bitcoin.org from 2011 or 2012. It describes very clearly how Bitcoin would have been able to become money for the entire world right there on chain by just scaling the block size. And bitcoin.org has been changed to no longer say that, but if you go and look at the Internet Archive from 2011 or 2012, it was very clear that Bitcoin's goal was to be money for the entire world by scaling on chain, by just letting the blocks become as big as they need to be. But Bitcoin's no longer on that path. Bitcoin Cash is.
All right. Well, I've got a question. I put out a tweet letting folks know what I was going to be doing today over at Futures Conference, because I have a decent sized community, and I like to include them in different things that I do, because I just think it's awesome to do so. But somebody asked a question for you. They said, ask Roger how he would feel about Bcash rebranding, if that would kind of help people maybe want to use Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash.
Who cares about Bitcoin Cash? You know what though? It's gonna be good. He froze. Uh-oh. Where is he at? He's at the beach somewhere. Hawaii? Whoops. Come on, Roger. That is funny though. That's funny. She said the magic word. Oops.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
That was the longest pause I've ever seen.
And shout out to Futures Conference for having me.
Oh.
Oh, Roger, you back? Can you hear me?
Yes. So we just had a power failure here in the Caribbean. I've switched over to tethering through my cell phone. And
okay.
Oh, damn! He did that quick though.
But it seems even better, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, you did
quick
that
question
quick.
for you. What do you? I had somebody that commented on my thread about interviewing you, and they asked how you would feel about kind of rebranding Bcash, like changing the name to something else, so that maybe other people would be more interested in using it, just because of all the previous bad blood.
Yeah, maybe. But the fact of the matter is, there isn't anybody that can change the name, right? It's this decentralized mass of millions of people around the world that are using it. It's the third most popular proof of work cryptocurrency in the world. Who would you go to even change the name? You'd have another giant, argument online that would take years, and still.
Now, Bitcoin Cash, for people who are new, it's cheaper than Bitcoin. It hasn't popped yet. It's gonna pop. It's gonna fly next year, even this year, the end of this year probably. That thing is gonna go crazy. I mean, it's gonna go ridiculous, bonkers. Okay.
Resolved. So I don't think the name of Bitcoin Cash is going to be changed anytime soon.
All right, I can get behind that. I have another question for you. Well, actually, I have two that are not really crypto related. Are you ready for those?
I'm ready.
Which shampoo do you use?
I switched to so Ignite. The Dan Bilzerian's thing has its own line of men's grooming products.
Dan Bilzerian.
Shoot, I forget the name of it, but it's black and it has a Billy Goat thing on it, and I kid you not, it's the best shampoo I've ever used. I received some as a gift earlier this year, and I've been buying more of it ever since. It's really fantastic. I feel horrible. I can't remember the exact name of it. I think it starts with an A, but it's fantastic. You can find it on my Amazon. Search for, I don't know, Dan Bilzerian shampoo or something like that.
What's your favorite type of music?
I don't listen to music too often, but when I do, it's generally K-pop. So
okay, I can get behind that. My daughter loves the Trolls K-pop. Those are her favorite type of Trolls characters, so I can get behind that. K-pop is awesome. I personally like J-Rock a lot from the 80s.
The Bees from Japan in the 80s were, I guess that was maybe 90s as well, but those guys are great as well. I
loved X Japan. They were probably my favorite J-Rock. Absolutely amazing. Anyways, before we go, I think that there's a question that I have to ask you. Well, one thing I want to say is I really commend the way that you spoke, because you got in almost every single partnership or entrepreneurship venture into this conversation, dropped all the websites, so I could admire the hustle. I appreciate that. And then I think they want to know what will 2021 look like for crypto in general.
Yeah, I think Ray Kurzweil is right. He says we always overestimate the amount of progress we're going to make in the short term, but underestimate the amount of progress we're going to make in the long term. And so 2021, we'll make some good progress, but by 2025 or 2030, my God, the world is going to be an absolutely different, amazing place, because it just gets better year after year. Don't listen to these pessimists out there that say, oh, the world is coming to an end. Things are getting better and better for people every single year for people all over the planet. So if you think 2021 is going to be exciting, wait until you see 2022 and then 2023.
I think the most progress will be made in the next 10 to 20 years in the crypto blockchain space. My daughter's 4. In 20 years, she'll be 24. So she'll have the upper hand and be able to single-handedly change the world, hopefully. And hopefully the kids in high school in Antigua that you're giving educational content to, books and whatnot, hopefully they'll be leading the way. And if you're ever in Los Angeles, would love to have you come out to my local boxing gym and talk to the kids there. The neighborhood really needs cryptocurrency.
would love to do that. For those that don't know, one of my big hobbies, it's not boxing, but it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've been doing that for a long time as well. And would be fun to have some sort of a charity Jiu-Jitsu match at some point. I don't know who wants to organize that, but I definitely would be up for that. I know there's some other good Jiu-Jitsu blockchain people out there as well, so that would be fun.
It's been a minute since I've done jiu-jitsu. If I'm more of a traditional boxer, I'd love to train with you one day.
I look forward to it.
Well, you have a great rest of your day. Shout out to Futures Conference for having us. I will hopefully be here next year, and let me know when you're in LA, Roger.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Polymath. Okay, so what's up next is Polymath, Red Swan, Blockquake, and Mohammed Mafood. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Polymath has been looking pretty good lately. It's been really dormant for a few years. Now it's finally doing something. You guys, all the dormant ones are waking up. So wake up and check it out. Check out that crypto universe, baby, if you're not already in it. All right, guys, let's go real quick back to the chat and make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see. All right, good content as always. Thanks. Took a little punt on Loom earlier as it had a big retrace, hopefully. That's what thanks for reminding me. I was going to check it out right after the stream.
Everyone. Welcome to Security Tokens State of the Union.
Didn't see this video on your subscriber list. Had to go to my profile to see that you were live.
For this panel, I've been working with these three guys.
Yeah.
Some of them for a number of years now.
I'm telling you, I'm sorry, but they do. They've really been suppressing my channel. Probably because I don't stick to a script. I just do my own thing. And a new trend that I'm seeing is that the more well-produced and scripted cryptocurrency channels right now are the ones that are booming. And people, new people coming to the space are looking for those channels and the ones that give them basically a script. And they do take a lot of time to make their videos and produce them well. I'm going to get back into that. Right now, I'm not in the best space, in many different aspects, to be producing a good video after good video. So I do live streams. That's good enough for now. At least I'm doing videos and live streams. So but eventually I will be doing scripted. I'll polish my channel more. I'll be doing more research, putting it together, polished and edited so that the best information's packed into a 15-minute video, 10-15-minute video, and I'll hopefully be doing those every day. So I'm going to be evolving. I'm going to be evolving, but you guys make it possible for me to keep doing this. Just being here, watching me, supporting me, and giving me good support. Words of positivity and stuff like that, and spread the love. Spread my channel around. They don't really push it out. I hear from so many of you guys. They're telling me, I was unsubscribed from your channel again. They're not showing me any of the notifications. They're not pushing. I don't see it on my feed, on my subscriber feed or my suggested videos. I don't see your channel ever, so I have to go look for you. A lot of people, they go look for my channel, and they can find it by typing Crypto Mike in. But let's face it, a lot of people aren't. I'm not at the top of people's minds. My old favorite channels, they kind of lose you lose your memory of them if you don't see them popping up all the time. And then you finally, a year later, you see that channel again and you're like, oh, I remember that channel. I used to watch it all the time. YouTube is doing that. So they're pushing the really well polished channels that get more watch time, more views, more thumbs ups, more subscribes, and because they're making more money. YouTube's making more money that way. They don't care. They don't discriminate. The only way they discriminate is who makes them more money. Who gets them the most money, they push those videos. Even if it's something they don't agree with politically. It's funny. They'll push the Trump videos, the MAGA videos. But they only push it to one side. The other side does not see any of them, of course. Anyways. yeah, theta is going to be huge. So what I was getting at is that please share my videos. If you're here, you know, and I'm live streaming, share it. Put it on Twitter, share it to a friend, whatever. Just don't feel afraid to share my videos. I need that. I need it. People, you know, should see some of this. All right, guys. So thanks for being here. I know it's been a long live stream. You guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you spread some positivity out there, you know. Go get some sun, which I'm about to do. I'm getting pale. Well, I think it's the light. There, I'm not as pale anymore. I'm going to go get some sun and, you know, get out there. And you guys get some fresh air, get some sun, you know, and just, I'm anticipating something big coming, so just be prepared, all right? All right, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. I love you guys. Crypto Mike out. Peace.